Good afternoon and welcome to the Leicester Road Football Stadium for this top-of-the-table clash between the Sandwell Steelers and the Leicester Falcons. I'm Matt Walker and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Carl Walkinshaw. Afternoon, Carl.
Hi, Matt. Looking forward to this one.
Should be a real good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to trip you through this pre-game show with a bit of a rundown of how Leicester have gone this year and how Sandwell have gone. Got a couple of coach interviews to give you. And this top-of-the-table clash is just that. Leicester currently sit at 8-0 with one game remaining after today. This is the Sandwell Steelers' final final game of the season, rather. They currently stand at 7-1-1, and we'll talk to you a little bit later about what that one at the end is all about. But how do you see this one shaping up, really? Because it's they played each other early doors. Leicester ran out victors, but it was a 25-12 scoreline. Does that have any bearing on today?
Well, I think it does, maybe psychologically, for Leicester, in terms of they know they can beat this team. From Sandwell's perspective, they have a 13-point deficit that they need to make up. And they've done a good job over the course of the season in getting better every game. You know, they've really put some good 50 burgers on people. They've scored a lot of points. They've defended well. They had that little hiccup against Shropshire, didn't they, where it was just a 20-19
That's right.
scoreline. And that was interesting because you thought maybe Shropshire would be able to compete with the big boys, but they soon showed that they can actually get some distance between themselves and everybody else. And it became the Leicester and the Sandwell show at that point.
It's a tricky one today. We're talking to both coaches, and we'll bring you those interviews shortly. But do you need to win this one as Leicester? Is it important for Sandwell? Because the likelihood is these guys are going to be facing each other in the playoffs. So how do you play this as a coach?
Yeah, it's the same sort of situation that England were in the World Cup, wasn't it? You know, they'd already qualified for the group stages. What do? Do you go for momentum or do you hide stuff or what? And both coaches were actually talking about that, weren't they, in the pre-interview? I think from my perspective as a coach, as a defensive coordinator, you go to win and then you build momentum and you look to keep that momentum moving into the playoffs. I think for Sandwell, psychologically, it's probably better that they win today because they want to get over that personal psychological hump of being able to beat Leicester this year. They were able to do it last year, but they've not been able to do it this year so far.
Absolutely. The standings don't lie. These are the top two teams in this division for good reason. As you mentioned, they put points on almost everybody they've played against. And as a result, does that mean this one's going to be cagey? Both high-powered offences, significantly different. Sandwell like to go to the air a little bit more, and Leicester like that ground game. But how do you see these guys matching up against each other today?
Both these teams can put points on the board. Both these teams have tremendous athletes. And I think you were right, Matt, and what you just said. Leicester Falcons' ground game is something to behold. They have tremendous athletes at that position. Marcus Francis, who just, when you stand next to him, he looks like a defensive end. I mean, he's huge. And as a result, I was speaking to the coach of Sandwell before. He was saying he's come through the Tamworth Junior system and now he's playing for Leicester. And he's a real athlete. And then you've got Ogundana with his quick feet who can dance all around. These guys can really rip it up on the ground. And if Sandwell can't find a way to stop that, it's going to be a long day for them. They need to get their quarterback, Tristan Varney, and their great weapons on the field as soon as they can. And if the Leicester Falcons can run and keep them off the field, that's what they're going to do.
Sure. As ever, we managed to catch up with both coaches, and always interesting and great to hear from Coach Cassar. Really a vibrant coach, enthusiastic, and we got his thoughts about today's game and very much what it means to him. Is it important to win or not? And here's what he had to say. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great, very well. Great to see you here again in Leicester. Penultimate home game for the Falcons this afternoon against a pretty strong Sandwell team. What are your feelings about this one this afternoon?
I'm just happy that we're playing somebody who can give us a game, really. I don't really feel out for the likes of the Coventry's. No disrespect to them or any other team, really. But for me, if I get up, I want to play a game. And I think this will give us a game. It's the first time I felt nervous. Last time I felt this way was the first game of the season we played them. I really want to feel this every week. For me, so yeah, it'd be a great game. I hope so. Anyway, I hope it'll be a good game.
That first game you alluded to there was you came out 25-12 victors. Now, obviously, that's a good couple of months ago. Both teams, you think, significantly improved since then, or like you say, because of the opposition they played, have you not been able to do that?
It's hard to judge. Really, this will be a judge for us. See how much we've improved. Yeah, they've improved a lot. They're a good side anyway. They always have been. They've got some good players, some pedigree, especially from Birmingham Lions. They're well coached and well drilled. So I know Maxwell quite well as well. So from Birmingham, so he's got them drilled well. Sure he has.
And for the Steelers this afternoon, it's their final regular season game. You've got one more to come. Talk about, because the chances are you guys are going to meet in the playoffs. So talk about the significance of the result today, as much as the performance. Talk about the significance of the winner walking out of here, then almost having a little bit of an advantage maybe heading into that playoff game.
It could work both ways. Obviously, if we win the game, then yeah, we'll feel confident, but also it might be a kick up the backside that we need by losing this game. I remember Manchester did it last season, like I said. They lost the game before, I think it was to Lancashire, and they came and got promoted. Sometimes it's good you lose, and it brings you back down to earth. At the minute, I think a lot of the players know they're going to win. This is probably, like I said, the second game where we don't know if we're going to win or not. It's one of those games, On that note, I think really we've got 4 teams in the north who can very easily play in the Premier League. That's why I feel that the league is needed changing around a bit. We can't have these games with 70, 80s, 60s nil. It's no good to anybody. We need close games, and I think the league needs to readjust and align that. But obviously they won't. I've just said it.
So, as regards this one this afternoon as well, has training been any more intense? Now, I know most coaches will say training's the same week in, week out, but like you say, when you're coming into something like this, has training felt any different this week?
We only had one training session since last Sunday. I think last Sunday we said a few words to the players, about stepping up and coming training. We had a good session on Thursday. We had 35. I wasn't there because my daughter graduated, so I had to miss.
Congratulations.
It. So, no, there was 35 there, which is good for us. Defence ran through some new stuff. We ran the offence again, but we're not going to change anything. We're winning one. We want to change it.
Absolutely. Finally, a little bit of a sort of good-natured story. Taylor Brown's mum's here this afternoon, over from the States. We've managed to catch up with him earlier on. He seems really thrilled. Expecting good things from Taylor as per usual?
As usual. His mum's here, so Mark make him play double what he normally plays. Normally he's doing 10%, he keeps telling me, so I like to see 100%. Well, that's like, yeah, it's really good to see her here. I mean, it's the first time I've met her. She's a lovely lady, as is his girlfriend, or fiance getting married on Monday. Yeah, he's kept that a secret. It's stag night tonight. I might shave his eyebrows. I told his mum that I'm going to shave his eyebrows. We're getting on a stag do. He's never heard of a stag do. He didn't know what that was. No.
Well, as ever, coach, it's always great to talk to you. We wish you all the best for this afternoon, and all being well, catch up with the end of the game again.
Yep.
All right, take care, chap. To hear there from Coach Gassal, he's nervous before this one.
Yeah, it's interesting that he would be nervous given the season that they've had. You would expect him to go in with full confidence, wouldn't you? But Sandwell present some challenges for the Leicester Falcons. They have a really good air attack, and there's some weakness maybe at the cornerback position. We saw when Onside Productions covered the game against Shropshire, we saw that last gasp touchdown for Shropshire that went over the cornerback's head, caught and into the end zone. So maybe if there is a weakness, it's something that the quarterback of Sandwell Steelers and these wide receivers can exploit today. There doesn't seem to be a lot on the surface, but they've not been tested by great teams so far.
No. Sandwell themselves had a successful season. They're still a very young club. As I said earlier, they currently stand at 7-1-1. And that one was the game against Doncaster, where both teams were awarded a tie, basically.
Yeah, week 7, both teams turn up for the game, but the ambulance doesn't turn up. So what does the league do? It says, well, you need to provide us with some evidence that it wasn't your fault. Sure. It was a home game for the Sandwell Steelers. They provided the evidence to the league, and Sandwell say that it was, that the medical association that was providing the cover was very good and admitted liability. And so the league said, OK, it's a 1-1 tie, it's nobody's fault. But that means that Sandwell can't win the division today.
No.
So that's just shows how getting the logistics right in British American football is so very, very important.
So the best that the Steelers can finish is 8-1-1 with a victory here today. Obviously, the best that the Falcons can finish is a perfect 10-0. They've got the Steelers today, and then they take on Doncaster in their final game.
Yeah, and 10-0 would be great for them going into the playoffs. And I think they already have an eye looking in the playoffs. When we interviewed some of the players at the end of the Shropshire game, they were talking about some of the teams that are around in other divisions that they're eyeing up at the moment. So clearly they've got one foot in this game to get this one. They want to go in with that momentum, but they're already thinking about playoff football.
After we spoke to Coach Cassara, Carl managed to catch up with the head coach of the Sandwell Steelers.
Hi Max, good to see you, head coach of the Sandwell Steelers, Max Petitjean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Yeah, it's good to have a proper game.
Excellent. First question for you. How's the season gone from a Sandwell Steelers perspective so far?
Been an excellent year in terms of the programme. Really some great rookies come through, some great old players return. So in terms of just season, the ups and downs, it's been brilliant. We lost first game of the season against Leicester, and then since then, strength to strength. I think we've had a number of clean sheets and put up 50 points at least 3 times. So we've had a really, really good year since we lost to these guys the first time.
Let's talk about that game then. It was a 13-point differential, I think, in the end, and Leicester took it from you. Do you think over the course of the season you progressed to the point where you can claw that differential back today?
I think so, definitely. I think we're going in this 100% thinking we can beat this team. We've watched the film from there and every game since, and we're fully prepared of what is about to face us. But it is a really good team, no doubt about it. They coach well, excellent players, and we're just excited to do it. This is what it's about at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're excited too to watch the game. In terms of that draw you had against Doncaster that gave you that 1-1 tie, has that put a damper on the season for you? Because coming into this game now, you can't win the division because of that result. Will that affect how you're going to play?
It's made the situation tough. No matter what happens today, they win the division, we are second in the division, win, lose or draw. So really tough, hard to prepare. At the end of the day, the only way that we could work it out in our own minds was that we have to still go out here to win. Maybe we're going to hold back a couple of plays on offense. Maybe we don't show everything on defense, but we've still got to show to win. At the end of the day, we're here to win the game, and we've got all of our best players playing. Apart from quarterback Tristan Varney is out with a rib injury, but QB2 is Kit Varney, little brother and superstar from Hearts. So we've got a load of good players still.
And is it a consideration that you might see this team again in the playoffs? So will you hold stuff back, or is it just all guns blazing and get the win and momentum for the playoffs?
Yeah, it is tough. We'll maybe hold back a little bit. We'll see how the game goes as well. See, we judge it, see what happens. But at the end of the day, we've got to do whatever it takes to win, and that's our goal right now. Because I would like more than anything to get momentum heading into playoffs. Northumberland are probably next for us. Very, very good team, some very, very good players. We're very aware of that, so we don't really want to be going into that off the back of a loss. So that's the goal.
Excellent. Well, good luck today, Max. Good to talk to you, and wish the Sandwell Steelers good. We're looking forward to a good game. Thanks very much.
Should be fun. Yeah, please.
So, a very relaxed coach, Petitjean, there for the Sandwell Steelers.
Yeah, he's a young guy, Max. He's played at GB, and I had a chance to spend quite a bit of time with him when we went over to Sweden, and I was just helping out with the coaching there. And he is a relaxed guy. He's philosophical, and coming into this game, I thought it was interesting. When we asked him that question about whether or not he was going to hide stuff from playoffs, because these two teams may well meet each other again in the playoffs. And he said, well, it will depend on the game and in the moment, and we'll go with whatever decision is right. And I think that's just a great attitude to have for a coach. You're on the sideline and you play the hand you dealt.
Absolutely. You may have seen the Steelers' offense warming up behind us while we've been talking, and they look sharp today. And they look sharp with a Varney at quarterback, but not the Varney we would expect.
Yeah, the Varney brothers have a big impact on this team. It's not just Tristan Varney that we know from GB and that we know from Birmingham Lions, but his brother will actually be starting at quarterback today, Kit Varney, who's been playing his uni football at the University of Hertfordshire and having a big impact there. So we look forward to see what he can do, and that'll be interesting. I believe Tristan Varney has some issues with his ribs that he's trying to get healthy for the playoffs, so they're going with Kit today, and we'll see how he does.
Speaking of universities and graduations, we caught up with Taylor Brown, superstar from the Leicester Falcons, before this show went on the air, because it's a bit of a special week for him. We won't share too much of that with you yet, because we've got an interview coming shortly. But talk about Taylor. I mean, he's just a phenomenal athlete.
He is a great athlete. He's a great return man. He's a guy that you want to keep the ball away from. And then when they're playing that cover 3 or cover 1, there's very few players that can run sideline to sideline in the way that Taylor Brown can. He has tremendous speed and awareness of the football, and you can play him in that robber position, and that's what Leicester do. They play this 3 defensive linemen, 5 linebackers, and then 3 defensive backs, but with Taylor covering the whole of that middle ground, so from post through the sideline to sideline, and he can cover corner patterns as well. And he's been hugely successful doing that, and just following the quarterback's eyes, following the ball and getting all sorts of interceptions.
Absolutely, and we'll bring you that interview when we're on our way up to the booth, which gives us a little bit of time to get up there. So let's turn our attention to the game today then. We're around about 6-7 minutes away from kickoff. You can just see the final preparations taking place behind us. We've talked about it being cagey and the implications for the playoff, and the fact that maybe Sandwell need this one a little bit more than the Falcons to build that momentum. What do you think we're going to get today?
I think you'll get 2 offenses that can score points, and that's exciting. It's exciting to watch, and I'm hoping that they come out full guns blazes and they really come out to win the game. And whatever players play on the field, they're going to want to be competitive. Once you pull that uniform on, whether you're playing in green or the gold and the grey of Sandwell, once you pull that uniform on, you're ready to go and you're going to compete hard, and that's really what we're looking forward to today.
Absolutely. Any score predictions? Do you want to stick your neck out on a limb? Score prediction for today?
I think there may be a higher score than we had in the previous game.
Right.
I still think Leicester have the edge.
Okay.
But I think it's by less than 13 points. But we'll see, because Tristan Varney's not playing today, so Kit Varney's playing in his stead, as we talked about. That may have an impact on how effective this offence could be. But we'll see what Kit can do. We know he's had an impact at University of Hertfordshire. Maybe he can get that translated into the adult leagues very quickly.
So we are at the business end of this 2018 season in the NFC 1 Division South. And as I mentioned, I'm delighted to say that we're joined right now by Taylor Brown and Mum Diana. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah,
from a Brit Ball perspective this year, is it successful?
Well, successful in terms of it's been clear in terms of where the teams are. So you've got two very good teams, two teams that are very close to Premiership football. I'd say Leicester could compete in the Premier now. We'll see how Sandwell play today. Then you've got the rest of the teams. You've got Doncaster, Nottingham, Shropshire, all there or thereabouts. I think Shropshire had the edge in terms of those teams, and that certainly was reflective in the scorelines. And then you've got Coventry that weren't able to field a team at one point in the season. That's really disappointing whenever you get that situation occurring. So I still think it's a competitive division. One team's got to go up, and so we'll see who comes down to make up the numbers next year.
And interestingly, we've been focused very much on this Division 1 South because of the games we've been covering with the Falcons and the Caesars. But if you're looking at the other Division 1, those Yorkshire Rams are looking pretty lethal.
Yeah, the Rams and the Vikings, those are the teams that these guys here are looking at for the playoffs and just seeing where they will get their rankings. And when we spoke to Coach Petitjean before the game, he was mentioning that they have one eye on the next stage of this competition, which will be that playoff knockout stage as well.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, kickoff should be around about 5 minutes away now. Taylor Brown, we mentioned Taylor and everything he brings to the game. We will bring you that interview now because it's a lovely story, really. We'll let it play out, but the fact that we've got him on camera, it's very little unusual for us to do pre-game interviews with players, but really good reason. So this is what happened when we caught up with Taylor and his very special guest just before this show. So I'm delighted to say that we're joined right now by Taylor Brown and Mum Diana. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
There's a very significant reason as to why Mum's flown in all the way from the States this afternoon. Just to fill us in a little bit more about that.
Okay, so the main reason is Monday I'm getting married to my beautiful fiance who's up in the stands. You'll probably see her on the camera. And then I had my graduation yesterday. I graduated law school from Derby, and then the big game today. So quite eventful, week she's here. So I'm excited to have her, and she hasn't seen me play for about 5 years, so it's going to be a good game.
Absolutely. First trip to the UK as well, Diana? How are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, loving it. Having a great time. Thrilled to be here. Yep.
So today's game then, obviously you said Mum hasn't seen you play for 5 years. What are you hoping to bring to the game, not only for the Falcons, but for Mum this afternoon?
Well, I just want to play, 150% and just get her a couple of turnovers and hopefully a defensive score. So that's the goal for today, and a win. On top of that. So.
And has the jet lag eased since you've been here? And what are you looking forward to most about watching Taylor play this afternoon?
Oh, I just always love Taylor's playing, and I haven't been tired yet. There's been too much activities, and just loving every minute of it. So.
Taking it in, really. So it's been good.
Absolutely. And the wedding Monday, you say? Everything prepped for the wedding? All good?
Best as we can. So. Just turn up on the day and then have a lovely evening afterwards. So we're real excited for it. Got her family here as well, so we're all meeting each other for pretty much first time, because she's from Lithuania, my mom's from America, so it's hard. So yeah, but we're all loving it and having a great time.
And Mum, that was Taylor's opinion of how plans are. Are you as confident for Monday?
Absolutely. I just go with the flow. That's about it. It'll all work out fine.
Well, obviously, we can see you guys just had the card checks and the warm-ups are taking place, so we won't take any more of your time. Just thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic game, and Mum, hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy covering. All right, thanks very much.
See ya.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks a lot.
And now, the home team, on an 8-game winning streak, looking to sew up their second consecutive division title. They are the Green Machine, Leicester Falcons!
At running back. Might be Lee French at running back. We don't have a number for number 13. We do have a number for number 12, which is Lee French. But we'll bring you that number as soon as we can.
So 2nd and 4 by the looks of things up here, and it's a play action, and Varney goes up top and he's looking for his man, and that is that man we mentioned. It's Austin Young. Austin Young trying to catch that ball round the DB's head.
Yeah, defensive back had his back turned to the football, but managed to run enough interference on the receiver up that sideline to avoid it being completed.
Slightly underthrown that first pass attempt there from Varney, I think. But hey, bound to be some nerves in this one. Taking it to the defenders rather than just accepting that punishment from them. So 1st down for Brammer. 2 backs alongside him. A little bit of a pro formation. Fakes one way, hands it off the other way. And that's number 24. And that's somebody that we've mentioned a lot before, and that's Adam Gums. Last couple of times we've covered the game, he's had a real successful outing, but only picked up a yard that time.
Yeah, really well read by this Sandwell Steelers defence with number 95. Daniel Williams coming up there to make the tackle. So difficult to see that misdirection. You know, you fake one way with that ball's then a little shovel pass inside by Joe Brammer, and Sandwell did really well to snuff that out for just a 1 yard gain.
And I suppose as a defender, that's when you've got to keep your discipline and know your role rather than just reacting to what you think you're seeing. So 2nd and 9 as Kieran Watts goes in motion. Francis takes the football again. So, second down upcoming. I mentioned earlier on before we got back into the action, how will Sandwell feel about their opening offensive possession?
Yeah, I think Kit Varney would have liked to have made a completion on that, but some decent running, so at least it shows that they can run against this Leicester Falcons defence.
So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right this time. That looks like running receiver. Oh, that's a good tackle. Good head-up tackle by Dan Williams.
Yeah,
sorry, Carl.
We've called his name twice now. Dan Williams, obviously absolutely critical, and he was a player that the coaches highlighted to us pre-game, that the play of Dan Williams today would be important. And I think what Sandwell have done is they've got certain players keying certain running backs, and that's the only way you can play this. You have to have players that are looking after Francis, players that are looking after the other running backs. I think that was Ogundana or number 24, who is
Adam Gums.
Adam Gums, sorry. And that's playing that man-to-man and just making sure they're getting tackles in early.
So here we go on 3rd and long now. 8 yards for a first down for Brammer in the offense on this first series for the home Falcons. He drops back and there's some cut blocks and Brammer puts it up looking to his left and he hits his man, and that man is Danny Burton. Danny
Burton getting good separation there on the out pass from the defensive back, who was number 44. We'll get a name for him in just a second. That's Sam Busher. Sam would have liked to have done better on that one. But good separation there from the receiver.
What I love about that pass, though, you see in this league quite a lot that, that out pattern that he's just thrown there, it doesn't gain a massive amount of yards, but in terms of the distance that ball's travelling through the air, and for him to get it on a rope like that and accurate so that he hits the man in stride, that's not an easy skill.
No, and it's the sort of plays that Joe Brammer can make.
So first down, Brammer this time hands off to Francis, and Francis bounces out around the right end, stiff arms his first man, and once again doesn't end up being taken to the ground, but instead shepherded out of bounds after another big pickup. And that'll bring up second down, but a 2nd and 4.
Yeah, there was a vicious stiff arm, wasn't it, as he came around the edge there, just absolutely planted the guy straight on his knees, and Francis getting the edge for a gain of 7. Have a look here, straight on the ground. And that defender's going to have to come in lower than that if he's going to make an impact on Marcus Francis. Want to stay away from those big old arms.
So Francis already eating up the ground on this first offensive series, and a series which is also eating up clock significantly. This first quarter will be flying by at this rate. Obviously both teams trying to establish the ground game, as this time Gums is the recipient of the handoff from Brammer, and he goes off the left side of centre, and he's going to be close to a first down, and he actually has been given that first down, and they keep the chains moving once again.
They're winning that battle at the line of scrimmage, and then they're winning it with the running backs. Even when they're going down as they move forwards, as they roll forwards, as they get more yardage. And this Sandwell Steelers defense now with their hands on their hips, wondering how we stop this running game.
That's always something that I find really interesting. Other people will see the offense as trying to move the ball and the defense is trying to make those hits, but it's just as important for offensive players to hit people even when they've got the ball, as Ogundana, I think that is. It is. Ogundana steps out of a tackle and picks up positive yardage. Yeah, so the misbelief that just because you're an offensive player doesn't mean you can't initiate contact.
No, absolutely, and the Leicester Falcons are testament to that today. They're cutting these defensive linemen down at the line of scrimmage, initiating the contact there, and then when these running backs are arriving, they're bringing a load. Ogundana with those quick feet, again dancing out of a tackle and out to his right-hand side to pick up more yards.
So 2nd and 7 this time for the Falcons. Burton goes in motion in front of Brammer, and Brammer this time hands off again to Ogundana, who sets off to the left, and he's met immediately, and now he's marched backwards, and amongst other people, number 65 in on that tackle. Then that's Alexander Roof, Alex Roof there, one of 3 or 4 Sandwell defenders to push Ogundana back that time.
He did a good job there, Alex Roof, because the gap was there, but it's his job to fill it. So as a linebacker, you're taught, is it cloudy or clear? If it's clear, hit the hole, because that's exactly what the running back's looking at in that inside zone from the other side of the field. Attacks the hole and manages to get the running back and pull him down for a loss of yardage. So a good play there by Alex Roof. That's what they need on this Sandwell defence.
So first real challenge on this drive, 3rd and long now, as Watts is in motion, and Brammer drops back, looks left, looks to his right, he's going to the corner, he's looking for Watts, he's got his man there, Watts makes the reception, and that is a no signal, touchdown Falcons, beautifully read. Brammer looked to his left, came back to his right, saw the height advantage that Watts had in that back corner of the end zone, and as he's done all season long, Watts goes up and makes that football his.
Joe Brammer had all the time in the world for this pass. You can just watch his play action. There is absolutely no pressure. Finally the pressure comes, but Brammer has time to pick his man out, and that ball could have hung up there for another few seconds because that receiver was just about as open as you can be in the end zone there for a touchdown.
So, one possession, one score. We said that we might see a significant amount of points. Nothing from the Sandwell side yet as the kick is up and Burton's kick is blocked. So a little bit of a moral victory there, as that looks like number 99 who got his hands on that one, and that's Stephen Kilvington. So always nice, even if you allow a touchdown, always nice to not allow those extras and grapple a little bit of momentum back.
Yeah, Stephen Kilvington there making the block. He was the guy that got stiff-armed by Marcus Francis on that run to the right-hand side, just getting revenge there and denying Leicester that additional point. But you're right, Matt, if Leicester can control the running game in the way that they've been doing and just march down the field and score like that, albeit through the air, then the Sandwell Steelers are going to have very little time for Kit Varney to make a difference when he's on the field.
So, the Steelers will get the ball for the second time this afternoon. Austin Young and Callum Davidson back deep to return for the Steelers. Last time that ball trickled out of the back of the end zone and no return was possible. Let's see if Burton picks one of these guys out this time. It's another driving kick, very much the same space. And Young does choose to take this one out of his end zone. He's past his 10, he's at the 15, up to the 20, makes the man miss at the 25, and he's snagged just past the 30, and there's our first flag of the day.
Yeah, it was an excellent return. I mean, you're wondering there is that you can just leave it and let it go out of the end zone, as you can see on the screen there, but he chooses, he elects to take it. They have a lot of confidence in their returning game and their returners. Both of these teams do a lot of work on special teams, and this isn't just, something we do at the end of the training session. They make it a core part of what they do, and that was a nice return. I wonder what the flag is, Matt. Have you had a call yet?
I haven't as of yet, but it's the first time we're going to be able to hear from our crew this afternoon. Mus Gibson, our referee.
Sideline interference.
Here a little bit.
On Leicester. That's a 15 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
So sideline interference, the call from the Falcons. And actually where that flag is dropped there is nowhere near where the ball was. So whether something was said or whether somebody scampered onto the pitch where they shouldn't have done, that gives Sandwell a huge advantage because they'll start their second possession inside Falcons territory.
Yeah, this is good for Sandwell. They're right in enemy territory already, as you say, Matt. Let's see if they can get that strike.
So Varney starts there at quarterback again, hands that ball off, and there's that number 13 once again who stopped for a 3-yard loss on first down. That's read very, very well. Michael Freif, one of the men there.
Yeah, both of those defenders pursuing to that near side hip of the running back. They just corral him, don't they, in that backfield, and no chance to escape from that one. I mean, normally you got one defender, you got an opportunity to dance around it, but with two defenders bearing down on you like that, that was hopeless for the running back.
So on second down, it's that same man, number 13. We'll try and get a name for you for number 13, because obviously he looks like one of the featured players for the Steelers this afternoon. At this point, though, well defended, picked up 4 yards. It's interesting to see on the Leicester sideline that Ogundana is currently going through the concussion protocol and being assessed by the medics down there. So his return is questionable at the moment. We'll see whether or not he can take his place back in the game.
Kit Varney with his first completion on that short screen pass to the running back number 13, so he's off and in the books. So he's 1 of 2 for 4 yards now, so hopefully that will give him some confidence moving forwards.
Important for a quarterback to get that first completion and just get that monkey off his back, and ball handed off again. There's a big hole this time. A nice positive play, but he's going to be short of first down territory. And the ball is ripped out, but I think he's going to be whistled down, and there's another flag, and 3 and 4 flags. And I think that's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct on number 60 for the Steelers. I wonder if we can get anything and that maybe Stuart Andrews, lineman there for the Steelers, but we'll wait and see.
Well, if you thought this game wasn't going to be competitive and there wasn't anything to play for, you're getting exactly the opposite. These two teams have come out hungry for this competition today.
So just waiting on that call. Sandwell did picked up 8 of the 9 yards they needed. It's going to end up being 4th and 2 prior to the penalty. And if any of you guys joined us last week when we covered the Nottingham Caesars game, Carl and I had a little in-game competition. See who could call the most flags correctly, and I think I was victorious on that one, Carl. Bow to my better judgment there, as is right, obviously. And I'm going for that first one there on sportsmanlike conduct to get us off and running this afternoon.
Well, it was a good play, Matt, because you saw I was distracted by something else, and you went straight in for the goal.
If you think we don't have strategies up in the comms box here, then you're sadly mistaken. We've worked long and hard during the week. Here's that referee.
Fouls on both teams. So unsportsmanlike conduct, 91 White. Also, unnecessary roughness, number 60. They will offset. Still 3rd down.
So here's that play once again. In fact, that's a highlight of Marcus Francis.
Correction.
So a highlight of Marcus Francis.
This will be interesting here, Matt, to see what they do on 4th down, because they're well into Leicester Falcons territory. It's probably too far to kick this. In fact, they're lining up with Greg Freeman to punt, but don't hold your breath. You could see something here from Sandwell in terms of a fake.
Well, if Freeman does end up deciding to run this football, it's going to be a long way. Maybe they're going to try and make them jump. We mentioned about that Falcons indiscipline early in the season with flags, but no, Freeman does get the ball, and he is taking off. And Freeman is going to try and get round the outside. Does he stay in bounds? He does, and he picks up the 1st down and more. Gutsy call, real gutsy call early on, but one of those momentum shifts maybe.
Yeah, and it just looked like that when they were lining up with Greg Freeman. You know he's a good athlete anyway. He's not one of these punters that can't run the ball. He definitely can play defensive back, might play receiver today. Saw the opportunity to go for it, saw that Leicester Falcons weren't ready, just manages to dance his way up the sideline.
What he actually does very well, as he catches that ball, he doesn't take off straight away. So he waits almost like he's going to kick, so the coverage team drop back. And that allowed him to just skirt around the outside. And there was only Michael Fruith there with an opportunity to tackle. So here we are then, big 1st down for the Steelers. Varney dropped back to pass. He goes to his right-hand side, he's got a man, and that's,
Surely that's pass interference.
I would have thought.
Again, number 14 not turning his head round. We said if there was a weakness in the Leicester Falcons, it was these cornerbacks, and you can see there just running straight into the receiver.
That is, even though it says flag on our screen there is no flag called on that, but that, for us, maybe should have been a pass interference call, and the Steelers may feel hard done by on that one.
Certainly looked that way to me from up here, Matt.
So 2nd and 10, Varney in the offense. 2 receivers to the left, the short side of the field. Varney this time hands the ball off. And that number 13 goes a long way laterally and doesn't get anywhere vertically, and he's brought down.
Steve George is the Leicester Falcons linebacker on that one, I believe.
Is that number 5 or number 6 brought him down there?
Number 5, I believe.
Okie dokie.
The only reason I say that, Matt, is I used to play with him. Used to play for the Peterborough Saxons. Just wanted to give him a shout. Pretty sure it was number 5 on the replay. But Steve making an excellent play there, sideline to sideline, and that's just dumped him for a 3rd and 15.
Yeah. Again, not wanting to question you at all, Carl, but our rosters show a little bit different with the numbers, so apologies if we've got it one way wrong or the other. This time, Young makes the reception. He gets back close to the original 1st down marker, and that will bring up 4th down. Just like that, after that 1st down play off that fake punt, those 3 downs whistled by.
They really have. Brings up 4th and 11 again, and of course you just run the fake punt. So what do you do in this situation? You're more or less exactly the same field position. This time, do you kick the field goal? Do you kick it deep? You know Greg can place the ball, Greg Freeman. Let's see what he does here. I mean, wouldn't it be cheeky if he went for it again?
Well, again, once bitten, twice shy, but you wouldn't put it past this Sandwell offense. Make some gutsy calls, and they know the gravity of this game and the significance of this game. And he does sort of pooch punt this one inside the 10-yard line. That's another excellently weighted kick. And the Leicester offense will take over just about on their own 10-yard line. Well, an exciting opening 1st quarter, to be fair. It's gone very, very quickly. It can't be long left in this one now. And there's the Falcons in the ascendancy, but by that one lone Kieran Watts touchdown.
Yeah, second possession now, isn't it, for Leicester? So they're going to come out and want to dominate again on the ground. Disappointing for Sandwell, having got the 4th down attempt, 4th and 4. Greg Freeman going for it and getting the first down, but then making absolutely no yardage with good plays from Steve. Number 5, actually, you might be right, man. It might not be Steve George, it might be Hefford, as you said. So apologies to you for that. But you know, making a great play on that second down, which just gave him 3rd and 15 and nothing to go with.
So on first down, Watts comes in motion again along that jet sweep, but the ball is given inside once again to Adam Gums. Another positive pickup, and that ground game is rolling for the Falcons. Yeah, barely time to breathe in this one. Wall-to-wall action here at the Leicester Road Football Stadium here in Hinckley in the East Midlands for this NFC 1 South top-of-the-table clash between the hometown Falcons and the visiting Sandwell Steelers. You can see it's currently 6-0 to the men from Leicester. And Brammer hands off again, and it's Francis this time. And Francis is met immediately for a minimal pickup, and that'll bring up 3rd down for the Falcons.
That's better, you know, that's better from the Sandwell defence. They're saying, you know, we've seen that play now. We've seen it 4 times, Marcus Francis running the same trap play. Show us something else, you know, making sure that they have to go deeper into that playbook.
So it is now 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3 for Leicester. Pivotal play for the Sandwell defence. You kind of think if they can make Leicester go 3 and out here, that's another positive for this visiting Steelers unit. And this time it is Gums who takes the ball to and again, Danny Williams, amongst others, meets Gums, limits his yardage, and that will be 4th and short, and on comes the special teams unit for the Falcons.
The defence will be buoyed by that tremendously because they haven't been able to stop that run up the middle so far, but they've made adjustments. This is a very smart coaching unit on the Sandwell Steelers. If there's one strength they have over above all, they're a smart bunch of guys with a good pedigree, and you know, they will make the adjustments they need to make to shut these plays down. What they won't let Leicester do is just continue to run the same thing again and again, and that makes for an interesting game.
Absolutely. So Burton back to punt. Callum Davison for the Steelers is back on his own 20-yard line. A great kick from Burton, and he's given his coverage team chance to get down there. And indeed, Ogundana, who we mentioned earlier on in the game, was out undergoing the concussion protocol. Obviously, he's passed those tests, and he rocketed down the field, didn't give Davison any chance. And that's not far off an 85-yard punt.
Yeah, whatever you can do, Greg Freeman, we can do better, eh? I mean, it's like the battle of the punters. That was a fantastic kick, and the returner had a sniff of the ball but decided against it as the kick was high enough to enable that coverage team to get down the field.
So we mentioned already about these 2 high-powered offense, and so far the Falcons actually trailed the Steelers in terms of points scored. Leicester have amassed 298 points on the season. In fact, with today's score, they've amassed 304. And the Steelers currently sit on 310 points of their own. So neither team has. That's a big hole up the middle. And that's and the ball pops out at the end. And that looks like Leicester are going to drop on that one. And after an immense hole for the Steelers, Taylor Brown emerges with the ball. Oh, now that's really interesting. Let's see if we can pick this up, because it's been called Sandwell ball, but that ball is definitely out.
His knee goes down, you can see from the replay there. Great shot from our cameraman as his knee goes down just as the ball comes out. So it's almost simultaneous.
So Sandwell catch a break after being hard done by, we think, on that initial pass interference call on the last play. Look at the pressure there. There are 5-6 Falcons there leading the charge. Leading the charge is number 44, James Beckett.
Yeah, they can.
Sorry, don't go.
They can smell the blood, can't they? They can smell it, these Leicester Falcons defenders. When the ball comes out, it's on the ground, you feel you've been unjustly robbed of your chance to get the ball out. As the referees award the ball to Sandwell, you just come even harder after it on the next play. 2nd and 11
upcoming now for the Steelers. Varney with pressure coming off the left end as he looks, and that ball is... Oof. And number 25 for the Falcons, Joel Gregoire. Almost, well, I don't know how he dropped that one.
How many chances do you want for the football? I mean, the block there as well from Taylor Brown was ready for that big return, and number 25 in and out of his hands, and he'll be wishing he had that one back.
Taylor Brown just exchanging pleasantries there with Callum Davison at the end of that play, but Sandwell and Varney let off the hook. Varney going to the air again, looks left, comes back to his right, and that one's floating in. That's this time. No flags come in there, and Austin Young, the intended receiver. That could have been offensive pass interference.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, those two, that little battle between number 14, Leicester Falcons, and Austin Young of the Steelers. And they're going to be battling all day long. And at the moment, Alex James has won it. 3 times they've tried to go to Austin. 3 times number 14's denied him. Maybe with a questionable call on the first or second chance for that reception. Looked like a pass interference to me, but not that time. The defensive back had good position.
For me, though, on all those 3 attempts to Austin Young, Varney's slightly underthrown him. And therefore, obviously, it's given Alex James the chance to make that play, because Austin has been waiting for the ball rather than have been able to run onto it. Anyway, here we go again then, 4th and 11, and it's the punt is up. And what another fantastic punt. Brown is going to field this one. Fields it at his 25, and now he's off.
Out.
Takes off to the 35, out to the 40, across midfield, steps out of bounds. Oh, and then there's a real late hit. That will be unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, these teams have come to play, haven't they? I mean, this is a competitive game of American football. That we'll see whether it looks like a late hit out of bounds. Pretty obvious call there. But Taylor Brown so dangerous in these situations. A great kick from Greg Freeman. Just as he gets to the sideline, he steps out of bounds.
Foul.
Bang.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. That's also the end of the first quarter.
It looked like number 6 on that replay who was guilty of that, but that would be Freeman. So maybe one punter meeting the punt returner, but that's the first quarter call, and that has flown by.
Well, it's been a superb first quarter. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. A 6-0 lead to Leicester. They probably deserve that at this point in the game. But it's a great game of football to watch. Competition's going on all over the field, and these teams have come to play.
And with all due respect to the Falcons' last opponent, who are the Doncaster Mustangs, you would expect Leicester to win that game. So realistically, Sandwell, even if they win this one today, can't really win the division, as we've mentioned already, but it's very much about bragging rights leading into the playoffs.
You're right, Matt. It's bragging rights, and it's that psychological issue for Sandwell that they want to get over this hump. They want to say, we don't just compete with Leicester, we can beat this team, and that gives you such a confidence going into the playoffs.
So start of the second quarter. Get in touch with us if you can, if you would like to, as Watts goes in motion again, and this time the ball's handed off to Francis, and Francis steps right and then back to his left, picks up a yard or 2, and it'll bring up second down. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you if you're watching in the UK, if you're watching stateside, in Europe, anywhere else around the world. Get in touch, tell us who you're supporting. Any friends on the field or on the coaching staff here for the Falcons or the Steelers? We'd love to hear from you this afternoon on this Saturday night lights game, even though it's July and we're not going to need lights. Nevertheless, back to football. 2nd and 8 upcoming for Brammer and the Falcons. Watts in motion once again, and you've got to think that jet sweep's coming before too long. Watts goes out into the flats. Brammer looks right, then brings it back to his left, makes one man miss, and then is crushed. And he's crushed by number 85. And that is Adam Bates, big defensive lineman for the Steelers.
He does like to roll, does Joe Brammer. If he sees nothing down the field, you can see it takes to his feet very quickly, coming to his left. Difficult to throw the ball then across your body if you're coming to your left like that. But the Steelers were waiting for it, and they shut that run down quickly.
And he made Alex Ruth miss by stepping inside him, but then the second defender was there to close the door for Brammer. The first time out for the Falcons on 3rd and long. So the disappointment of the Sandwell's offensive struggles so far are being softened a little bit by the efforts of their defence.
Yeah, defence playing well. They've definitely made an adjustment in the middle of the field to stop Marcus Francis being able to just dominate between the tackles. And in making that adjustment, they've made it more difficult for this Leicester Falcons team to pick up these first downs and put themselves in situations where instead of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, it's now 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. a much more difficult challenge, and that's why Leicester Falcons taking the time out to talk this one over and see what they have open. They have been threatening that jet sweep, as you say, Matt, and that may be something that they go to the wide side of the field on this play.
The Steelers, I mean, both these defenses are stingy, and particularly in this division where, as we've mentioned, the competition isn't necessarily the level that we're seeing today. Both the Falcons and the Steelers have only allowed, they've both allowed under 100 points. The Falcons only allowed 34 points so far in 8 games. The Steelers not far behind. In their 9 games, they've only conceded 60 points.
Yeah, this will be an interesting play. Let's see what they do, whether they rely on that running attack or whether they go. They may also be considering that they have 2 downs here. They're in enemy territory. They could go for it on 4th down and still, not get it on 3rd down, still have an opportunity on 4th.
Now look at this formation now as Brammer drops back and he flicks the ball out to the right-hand side. And Chadwick Whittaker thought that was a little bit of a hospital pass there from Brammer, but Whittaker made the first man miss. And on 3rd down, they pick up 4-5 yards. And on comes the special teams unit. There's that ball's floated, and DB had a chance to make a play, but just bounced off him.
Yeah, but I mean, the ball was slow to get to the receiver, just stood there, and the defensive back had him in his sights and just didn't exploit the opportunity that he had to arrive as the ball arrived. A mistimed tackle. And Livingston did well just to step around him and pick up some additional yards.
So 4th and 4 now, and the Falcons and Danny Burton will come on to attempt a field goal. Blocked extra point earlier on in the game. This one is driven, but it's driven low, and that one's no good. And that is as good as a defensive stop for the Steelers. And they will take over, still only 6 points adrift.
That's the sort of kick you worry about if you're an offensive lineman, isn't it? You expect to hit you at the top of your head. So a line drive kick looked more like a squib kick.
On the 22.
So the Sandwell Steelers hold, and that will buoy their confidence again. This game's still tight in this early exchange.
Defenses are coming to the fore for these 2 teams so far, and these high-powered offenses are struggling to find form, but still a long way to go in this one. As Varney hands off, and he hands off to didn't catch that number.
It's that number 13 again, I believe, Matt, that we don't have a name for, unfortunately. But it was a short gain, and that's a 2-yard pickup, which will bring up 2nd and 8. And we'll see what they do in this play. They've had some success on the ground. Kit Varney just with that one completed screen pass. Looks like they will hand the ball off again.
It's that same man who bounces out to the right-hand side, and then finishing off that play is Michael Fruith, who just says hello.
Yeah, number 13 there. Runs very upright as a running back, and as he makes contact, still got his head very high, and that enables a defender to come in. Wants to dip his shoulder a little to protect that football. We've seen it come out once, and it's easy to say from up here, isn't it, Matt? But more difficult on the field. But yeah, he's got to get his shoulder pad down to protect that football.
They're the sort of hits you used to make, Carl, I remember, from that linebacker position. And Varney fumbles and manages to get it back, and now tries to make something positive out of it, and unfortunately can't. And on 3rd down, that's a disaster. It's a disaster there for the Steelers. Falcons come up claiming they've managed to wrestle that ball away, but nothing doing from the officials. And it will be 4th down, Sandwell.
Kit Varney not having a chance there with that snap as it comes out, and he just drops it on the ground, tries to make something of it, and was lucky maybe that the ball wasn't turned over the way these Leicester Falcons are hitting today.
So another opportunity for Taylor Brown to light up this Leicester Road Stadium. That's if Sandwell choose to punt towards him, and the kick is up, and Freeman, it's a high kick, and Taylor will have a chance. Fields it, and was his knee down? The officials say no, and he steps out of one tackle, but that's good coverage from the Steelers, really good coverage.
Yeah, excellent coverage by number 44 there, and others arriving. Stephen Kilvington and other defenders rallying to the ball. Another good kick from Greg Freeman, and the special teams play such an important role in a game like this when it is so tight.
but you can still saw the impact that just a poor snap can have on a drive. If you don't get that punt coverage and punt kicking right, then you really put yourself in a hole. But these two teams coming out and playing excellent special teams football. If you're a special teams coach, let us know what you think.
So still 6-0 here to the Falcons. A nice crowd here on this Saturday evening. Sunny Saturday evening, as we've had so many sunny evenings over the past 4 weeks. Set to continue for a while yet, we're led to believe, as Francis takes the ball off to the right-hand side of that offensive line, and he's turned the corner, and he's got a first down and more. He's at the 30, where he's pushed out of bounds. The last man there, it's Danny Williams, from his defensive end position, tracking 20 yards down the field and pushing Francis out.
Yeah, Francis just going for the edge. There's so many blockers in front of him because it looked like they were going to run that jet sweep. They run a man in motion.
Holding, number 1. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, still first down.
It's Whitaker called for holding, and that negates the efforts by Francis.
So I think it was Whitaker who's that receiver on that right-hand side of the Leicester Falcons offense rather than the man in motion. And the holding penalty to bring it back and negate, which was a fantastic run. But Francis had very little to do there except just turn the corner and get the afterburners on because the blocking was excellent.
So after the
it
penalty,
was so good, in fact, there was a hold on it.
And I won't claim that flag that time. I didn't even see that flag come out. So still 1-0 to me on the flag count this afternoon.
You're not
anyway,
giving me anything for that fake punt call, are you?
No,
I've
nothing.
noticed that.
Well, if we're gonna start a competition about predicting plays, then yes, you're in the lead. But this competition, as Brammer got to his left, he puts the ball up for Watts. There's a man there, and Watts ends up playing DB and swipes the ball away from his opposite number 21.
Perfect position there from the defender, who did a really excellent job in making sure that it was Peter Roden actually. And if you watch this on the replay, you can see that this is the defender has better position than the receiver. A really excellent job of body position, and was unlucky there not to get the pick. If you just make a little adjustment to his inside, you might be able to pick that ball off.
You've got to say that one's on Brammer a little bit as well, because on that particular pattern that Watts is running down the field, Brammer's got to hit the sideline a little bit more than that. He can't afford. Watts knows that he's putting his defender between him and the quarterback, and therefore Brammer's got to hit him outside. But nevertheless, it's 2nd and 12 after that holding penalty a couple of plays ago. Brammer this time drops back to pass. He looks now, he steps up, he puts the ball over Danny Burton's head, and that falls harmlessly incomplete.
Yeah, Brammer taking a lot of steps there in the pocket. You know, he's got space and he's got time around him. He really doesn't need to be shuffling his feet so much, and then, you know, misses his receiver as a result of all that action going on. But he had plenty of time there to pick out number 10, just wasn't able to.
In trots big Marcus Francis, who's had a couple of plays out, switches places with Ogundana there. Interesting, Kieran Watts came to the sideline requesting a little bit of a switch after that long go route that he was running. Whether he just needs a breather or he's twinged something, we don't know. Hopefully he'll be back in the game for the Falcons shortly. So 3rd and 12, this Steelers defense still doesn't budge as Francis again takes the ball in that trap play and he bounces off 2 tacklers. But again, that defense stays strong and brings up 4th down.
Yeah, they got 5 defensive players on the line of scrimmage, 3 defensive linemen and then 2 stand-up linebackers just taking on those offensive blockers as they run that trap play. Francis really had nowhere to go.
And very much, again, defenses dictating the game.
Yeah, it's a fascinating competition because what you've got on the field at the moment is 2 very good offenses coming up against 2 sterling defenses who are doing a great job.
And it's a
Poor
bad
snap on the punt.
But Danny Burton makes the first man miss and he's taken off around the right, and then he manages to get the ball away. Great presence of mind by Burton, not only to elude that first tackler, but also to gain whatever he can off his boot.
Yeah, well, we were just complimenting them, weren't we, on the special teams play, but that was a terrible snap. And Burton got absolutely levelled as he kicked that ball, sacrificing his body to get that ball out of bounds, and throws his hands up and says, "What happened?"
Hey, even the slickest of offenses, defenses, special teams have off moments. It's how you react to them, and Burton did well to get anything off that kick. He didn't get a lot, but puts the Steelers in really great field position for this next offensive series. Varney swings the ball out to the left, and it's over the head of his intended receiver. And that intended receiver is number 88.
Austin Young, yeah, they're trying to get the ball to Austin Young, and they obviously think he can make an impact on that sideline pass there. Kit Varney really needed to drill that one in and get it there quickly rather than loft it up, because you've got all those defenders converging on the ball so quickly.
So 2nd and 10, another low snap, and I think that is going to be a false start this time against the Steelers, which will then take the score to 2-0 to me on the flag count.
Interesting how you get to speak first.
Start, 80 on the offence, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Referee Muzz Gibson just confirming the addition to my flag tally. I mentioned Muzz Gibson's our referee. Mark Wilson, Ian Wilson and Joe Foxon are his crew this afternoon here for this big top-of-the-table clash. It'll bring up 2nd and 15. Next flag that comes out, I'll give you first opportunity. Varney looks to his left and he puts the ball up and, just over the head of Alex James once again. This time, looking to try and get the ball to Steve Kinnersley. First time I mentioned his name today, but another effective receiver for the Steelers.
Yeah, Steve Kinnersley had done all the work there. He was kind of a sandwich between 2 defenders, but had the space to make the catch, and Kit Varney just couldn't connect. But that play's there. I think they'll come back to that one, Matt, later on in the game.
I think both quarterbacks looking a bit jittery at the moment. It's understandable with the defences playing as they are. Varney again, he's got a man who has a great pickup of a block, and he's picked off. And that is James Beckett, number 44, with the first turnover of the game. And Leicester are back in business once again.
Yeah, the green machine with the pick. This defence, they have 5 linebackers just hanging back there, and I think the quarterback got interfered with, didn't he? Although the defender was partially blocked, there was a little nudge in the back from his own player as he went to make that block, and that just threw Kit off and threw the ball right to number 44.
Well, Michael Freuf there was the defensive end, and I think Varney must have been hearing that as well, because he came through like a freight train, and the running back did well to pick up the block and save his quarterback a potential visit to A&E.
Absolutely, that was one of those classic blindside off the edge, take your head off kind of plays. Well done on the running back.
So here comes Watts in motion once again, giving Brammer the chance to see whether that defence is man or zone. And Francis picks up 2 yards on 1st down.
Daniel Williams again, really a workhorse linebacker in the middle of the field there, making the tackle on Marcus Francis to deny him any more yards, and they've done well stopping that play now. Had early success on that first drive, but whatever adjustment they've made is working, and Dan Williams is able to roam free and get a good shot on Marcus Francis whenever they try that.
So where the ball's been spotted, it's actually 2nd and 9 rather than 2nd and 8, but nevertheless, that's Steelers offense really solidifying against the Falcons run game at the moment. Brammer back to pass, he's got time again, he's looking over to the left and he looks for Francis, and Francis now that's interesting. I think that's called incomplete. I don't think he made a football move, didn't have possession of that football before he turned upfield, and actually took his head off the ball before he did get possession.
He'll be disappointed with that, doesn't he, because he delays if he's blocking, then comes out and then just looking upfield too early before he had an opportunity to secure that football.
So 3rd and 9 upcoming, and once again this defensive battle that many predicted. Even though we have 2 high-powered offenses, we already spoke about the fact that both these defenses have allowed 60 points or less in either the 8 or 9 games that they've played this year, so it was always going to be difficult for both these offenses. As Brammer drops back to pass once again, he looks this way and he's got his man, and that one is juggled but caught. Good concentration from Tom Jarrett, and that will be short of a 1st down, and Tom Jarrett gets up almost as if not knowing where he was when he caught that ball. And from a receiver, when you know it's 3rd and long, you've got to try and get to the marker.
I think he was disappointed he didn't snatch it out of the air first time. He had that double clutch, didn't he? You know, snatch it, drop it, catch it again. Didn't have an opportunity to turn his hips and get upfield, and that brings up 4th down.
And Leicester appear to be going for it. 4th and 4 for the Falcons. Another game-defining moment. Can that steel curtain stay strong? So Francis takes the ball, and no, it can't, because Francis bulldozes his way through, picks up 10 yards, and another Falcons 1st down.
Just when they needed to stand firm again on that trap play, they dial it up, and Francis just bulldozes his way, as you said, Matt, straight through that defender.
If you have a look there, though, I took my eyes off Francis on that replay and looked at the offensive lineman, and every single lineman had picked up a block. I think there was one guy there who was taking 2 Steelers defenders out at the same time, so that's where those big guys in the trenches who don't get a lot of credit really opened the field up there for Francis. So the Falcons continue to roll on this latest offensive possession. They are now inside the 25-yard line, close to the 20 for first down Falcons. And Francis once again on that same play, and the offensive line do the job again, and Francis picks up 4 yards.
Just doing enough to get Francis to the ground. And you're right, I mean, if this continues, it's so exhausting for a front 7 in American football just to be battered by a large, well-drilled offensive line. So again, let's see what adjustments Sandwell can make again to try and give this defense something to be able to stop this running game.
Coach Petterjohn spoke to you and mentioned about the fact that he'll play as the hand that he is dealt, and obviously he's being dealt a significant hand of Francis at the moment, so he needs to make those adjustments. But now they up the change up with Ogundana, and Ogundana goes nowhere.
That was nice aggression, wasn't it, from the front 7 of the Sandwell Steelers, and Stephen Kilvington and others. A little help from defensive backs wouldn't go amiss at this point either. Bring those defensive backs up to that line of scrimmage a little bit more. Joe Brammer having less success through the air, but they've got to stop this ground game first. It is the absolute priority for Sandwell.
This very much has the feel of a 1 score will do it. A 2 score might be too much for either team to come back from. So less than 20 yards away from pay dirt now are the Falcons, and you feel if they go 12-13-0 ahead, that could be a significant mountain for the Steelers to climb.
Still with those 5 down linemen.
Brammer drops back to pass, he's pressured, and that looks to be a flag, but nothing coming. His defender as he looks for Burton in the end zone, and great defensive play in the end by number 3 for the Steelers, and that is Gareth Thomas defending that one.
Yeah, he did well, Gareth, because there's such a long time on that play. You got play action, then Joe Brammer rolling right. Look at that, there's a block in the back there, it looks like, from number 70 on number 65 for the Leicester Falcons, but it's not called, giving Brammer time to roll right, and the defender did really well there on that play to deny the second touchdown for this Leicester Falcons team. Well done, Gareth Thomas, for staying with the ball.
It was Tom McCormick, the lineman for the Falcons, that we think got away with one. I mean, he must say, to a large degree, the officiating crew are letting them play this afternoon. So Danny Burton on to attempt his second field goal of the afternoon, and that's not a great snap. And as a result, the holder had a very difficult job spotting that ball, and it goes wide left. So once again, 3 attempts this afternoon for Danny Burton, 1 extra point and 2 field goals. No success so far.
Replaced on the 22. First down, Sandwell.
It remains the Leicester Falcons 6 and the Sandwell Steelers 0.
Well, we were talking about bend don't break defenses last week, weren't we? And this is exactly what Sandwell are doing. You know, they're getting to that critical part of the field where everything kind of gets smaller for an offense, and they're not allowing these Leicester Falcons to take advantage of the great field position that they've had. We've been bogged down in the Sandwell Steelers half for a good chunk of this game, but they're not coming away with those points.
And as the game goes on, and the Falcons particularly find themselves moving the ball but with no end product, they're going to get frustrated themselves. So let's have a look then. Varney on a very strange looking reverse handoff there, gets the ball to his running back.
Interesting little pirouette there. Yeah. I wonder if he learnt that from his brother Tristan.
And that's number 12 on the carry. That's Lee French into the game. So Lee French, a bit of a change up. Looks a slightly more, a more slight athlete actually than his counterpart, number 13, who has had significant carries this afternoon already. Picks up 3 yards on first down, and 2nd and 7 upcoming for this Steelers offense. And Varney really needs to get something going, not only by getting a first down, but by completing a couple of passes, as he looks to do on this 2nd down play. And that one is behind his intended receiver, which is Davidson. And that slant pattern doesn't come off.
Yeah, have more zip on the ball that time is exactly what he needs. You want to zip that ball in there, but unfortunately just behind the receiver, who didn't have a chance to get his body turned around and his hands onto it.
So it'll be another third and a long 6, maybe even 7, as our screen suggests, for Varney and the Steelers. And the longer he goes without completing a pass, the more nervy he'll get, the more confidence that defense will go. And he's put that one up to the left sideline, and he's really, you can see him just feeling the pressure from that Falcons defensive front.
Yeah, Lee French was running a little screen pass over to the right-hand side of the field here, the field side, as the Sandwell Steelers are looking at it, and was wide open for a short gain, maybe picking up something, but Varney wanting to go deep, didn't see the running back open.
Momentum definitely with the Falcons at this stage. Another 3 and out for the Steelers, but it is still only a 6-0 game, and therefore, as long as the Steelers defense can keep the West Country team in it, and that's a high hanging kick, and Brown just moves away from that one, tails all his players to do the same, and it's downed by number 44 for the Steelers, Sam Busher, and we will see the Falcons offense once more.
Another great kick from Greg Freeman. We can just feel the breeze actually coming through the stands, and it was at Greg Freeman's back. It was a nice high kick, enabling the coverage to get there, and Taylor Brown says that, you know what, I'm going to leave this one.
Hopefully you're getting in touch with us. Our producer today is Tom Howe. Our other producer, director Steve Matthews, currently away from production today. I know we'll be watching, so I hope all is going well with you, Steve. And Tom and the boys here, Alex on the camera. George Lee's obviously running our replays in the booth as Francis takes the hand up to the right, and he barrels forward once again, lowers the boom on that defender for the Steelers, and picks up positive yardage once again.
Yeah, Francis again, it must be close to over 50 yards now on the ground, and well towards his 100-yard game.
So yeah, the crew here at Onside, we've got a nice crew here who rotate from time to time in all the different positions. We've got Sean Endicott down on our sideline cam there. We've got Alex, our main cameraman. We've got George and Adam Gums. No, Adam Gums isn't in the booth, but George Lees and Tom Howe down running things in the production booth this afternoon. Onside Productions really going from strength to strength, as is this Leicester offence, with Adam Gums on that latest carry.
Yeah, Gums with, again, good blocking from the offensive line there, and that enables Gums to hit that hole and get round that left-hand side of this offensive line.
So first down, Falcons, after that pick-up by Gums. Coming up to half-time here, the sun getting lower and lower as you can see the long evening shadows. Francis once again is the recipient of the handoff from Brammer, and he bounces through the Steelers defensive line and picks up close to a first down. He's going to be a yard short. It'll bring up 2nd and 9.
Oh, you've just seen a Leicester Falcons gone down to the ground. It looks like a flag is going to be against Sandwell, number 65.
And here's your opportunity to call that flag, Cole.
Where's your little diagrams with the signals on, Matt? Did you bring it?
Yes, but I will ask you to call it prior to getting the signal from the official. Here's your opportunity.
It's going to be a 15-yard penalty against number 65 of the Sandwell Steelers.
So you're calling a personal foul.
The actual phrase did elude me there for a second,
but that's what
yes,
you're after.
It is a personal foul.
Personal foul. Let's see if you're correct.
Well, the interesting thing about this call is the Leicester Falcons player did a kind of, soccer-style dive when he went to the ground, and I think the referees are having a look at this and saying, well, what was it, a bit of play acting, or was there actually something going on there? There was no doubt that a block came in, a Sandwell Steeler player jumped up, and let's hear what the referee says.
Here's referee Gibson.
We have line ball foul, personal foul against the defence. That's a 15-yard penalty. That will give a first down. A dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike against 50, simulating. That's a 15-yard penalty.
I tell you what, you can have two. You can have two for that.
Not a bad description, Matt.
You can have two for that. You've got the personal foul.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating that there is a simulation penalty. That's great, isn't it? That's what we need in English football, isn't it? Well, not World Cup football, not so much England team, but certainly World Cup football.
I wondered if referee Gibson was actually going to create a new signal there and give us a Neymar call. We have a penalty for Neymaring.
Yeah.
Is Neymaring a verb now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, nevertheless, you're correct. You now have taken a 2-1 lead. That's how quickly this flag competition between us can turn around.
The game within the game.
You were trailing, and now you're leading on one simple little play. Great call there, Mr. Walkinshaw. Your football knowledge shining through. But yeah, simulation, it's good. It is good. Because unfortunately, I mean, like in any sport, simulation.
The 2-minute warning. Leicester have 2 timeouts, Sandwell have 3.
Simulation, for all intents and purposes, is cheating.
Well, it is, and whilst number 65 was clearly upset that he'd been blocked, it was a legal block by the looks of things. Jumped up, and we don't need it. We don't need the play acting, do we?
So here we go then. 2-minute warning, as you heard from referee Gibson. First down, Leicester, inside the Sandwell half of the field. And Brammer signals Taylor Brown to come in motion, and Brown does get the jet sweep, and he's got a little bit of an edge, but that's Grower. What a fantastic lateral pursuit. Number 26 for the Steelers. And there he is, Robert Jones follows Brown, doesn't allow him to turn the corner. You can see him coming in there. Great form tackle. Wraps his legs up and then allows his teammate to finish the job. And they've been threatening that jet sweep all game so far, and it's Taylor Brown who's the recipient. Only picks up a yard. 2nd and 9.
If you're going to make a tackle against Taylor Brown, do it like that. Do it perfect form. That's what you absolutely need to bring that man down, and that's what they did. Well done, Robert Jones.
So Brown in motion once again to the opposite side of the field. Brammer drops back. Brown not yet been a feature on offense. Brammer scrambling around, and he's still scrambling, making those, and then he pops the ball up and he's looking for Brown. Brown with a highlight catch between 2 defenders, wrestled to the ground. First down, Falcons, and when you need a man to make a play, that man Brown is usually there.
Brammer to Brown, absolutely astounding here. Look at the scrambling as Brammer looking for space, still nothing downfield, keeps his feet off his back foot, lofts it up, and Brown has the athletic ability to pull that one in. Fantastic football there from the Falcons offense.
And actually, even when he has made that reception, he has the strength as well to continue to gain a couple of yards, moving backwards with 2 defenders on him. Incredible. Mum in the stands, Diana, will be jumping up and down for that one. First time she's seen her boy Taylor playing 5 years, flown in from Chicago to watch today. See Taylor graduate from Derby University yesterday, or earlier in the week definitely, and then Taylor will be getting married also to his fiancée Ruta on Monday. Fantastic weekend for the Brown family.
Definitely one for the highlight reel, isn't it? I mean, that was just a spectacular play, in the way Taylor Brown keeping that one alive and enabling Joe Brammer, whilst he's scrambling around, to have a target to go to.
There are a number of things on that play, aren't there? Obviously the reception at the end of it from Brown, but number 2, like you said, Brammer keeping the play alive, and also the offensive linemen making sure they don't end up too far downfield, becoming illegal men downfield, as it were. And so just all in all, just a great broken play really for the Falcons.
Against a very well drilled defense as well, a defense that played that down very well.
Brammer just giving his running back last second instructions, obviously looking to Gums, and he steps up and he puts the ball again. He's looking for Brown in the corner of the end zone, and Brown makes an incredible reception over his man, back of the end zone. Touchdown Falcons.
Well, how do you top the first play? You touchdown to Taylor Brown in the corner of the end zone. Brammer to Brown, 2 connections, and they've doubled their lead. That was just fantastic athleticism from Taylor Brown.
Unfortunately, don't have a replay to bring you, but that play was almost identical to the Watts touchdown in the first quarter. And again, Brammer puts it exactly where only his man can make that reception. And again, Brown, you see his concentration, the DB's coming towards him. Again, the DB didn't get his head around, but Brown's concentration, knowing that he's going to be take a hit afterwards, to locate the ball, hold on to it, and maintain possession under that pressure. So incredible all round again from Brammer and also Taylor Brown.
Looks like
Sandwell, 53 seconds, that's their first.
Yeah, Sandwell gonna take a time. We saw this a lot in the Shropshire game with Leicester going for 2 points. Obviously they missed that first point after attempt, so they're looking to go for 2. But going back to that play, I mean, the thing to say about it is when you see fantastic football like that, it's because the play is well defended. Brammer under pressure, has to scramble, moves inside the pocket, steps up. Taylor Brown with a defender hanging off him makes the reception. When defenders play well, it gives an opportunity for offenses to really show what they're made of, and that's what we've got today. Competitive game of football at a very high level.
So 3 plays really where Brown was involved. That jet sweep initially, which was defended very, very well by the Steelers, and then we saw the athleticism of Brammer keeping the play alive and finding Brown on that first reception, and then once again the athleticism and presence of mind of Brammer, as you mentioned, Carl, to step up into the pocket and deliver a perfect ball for that second touchdown for the Falcons. And realistically, as well as this Sandwell Steelers defense have played, the offense and so close to half-time as well, it's a bit of a hand blow really for the West Midlands team. Let's see if Brammer and the offense can add the extra juice to take it out to a 14-point Leicester lead. He drops back to pass, he's looking left immediately, and he's looking for Brown again, and Brown, just pure athleticism, a great hands catch away from his body, has the balance to turn the corner, dive for the end zone before his knee hits the ground. There's your 2.
Well, what can you say about Taylor Brown? Is there anything this man can't do? He picks the ball up at 2-yard line and just dives in for the touchdown. Just fantastic athleticism from this play. And Joe Brammer, so frustrating to play if you're a defender, because you have in the pocket pursuing their offensive line, and Brammer can keep a play alive like that, scramble around and find the open man. I remember, Matt, when I used to play Joe Brammer when he used to play Coventry Jets, he did exactly the same to me. We thought we had the play finished, done, and Brammer scrambling around on a 2-point attempt, and it actually won them the game. So I've had it first from Joe Brammer, and I can tell you it's frightening as a defense to be in that situation.
Taylor Brown remains on the field on special teams. Danny Burton looking to kick off again. Young and Davison back deep to return for the Steelers, and there's a flag on the play here once again. Not really sure what's going on, whether it's an illegal, can't be an illegal substitution. Looks like it's going against the Falcons though, the way that Davison is signalling. Still discussions going on between...
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the coach, 15-yard penalty.
Interesting. Interesting. Coach Cassar looks like it may have been called there for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, whether he's stepped out of the box or said something to one of the Steelers special teamers here.
Well, that's the second sideline call against the Leicester Falcons, isn't it? We had something on a pump play, and now we're getting unsportsmanlike conduct against the coaches.
But I think he's been given it again. It's exactly the same call, and Coach Cassar, I think, has been playing with the officials there, almost taunting the officials the way he was stepping out of his coach's box, and he's come unstuck.
We didn't see him on the sideline there, but just, as Matt says, just stepped outside of that coaching box and then back inside, almost to say to the refs, what am I doing wrong? Well, they called him again. Well, the whistle went and the flag flies up.
Coach Cassar is experienced enough to know, and I think he's playing a little bit now, and the side, our line judge here is having a word, putting his fingers to his mouth, and Coach Cassar again is walking away, shaking that head.
Conduct against Leicester after distance to the goal.
So as we get to the end of this half, you've got a situation where Leicester Falcons are going to have to kick and give the Sandwell Steelers an opportunity to get some points on the board. I mean, this should be decent field position.
And I think the sideline there not doing the Falcons any favours. And
Well, it seemed good-natured. I mean, Noel Cassara, obviously, he's got a smile on his face the whole time he's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this Leicester sideline's very relaxed in the way that they go about their business.
So Burton, that's a good kick, but it's going to be returnable. And Austin Young is underneath it, and he fields it at his 35. And he's got to see him, and he's up to past the 40 into Falcons territory. And he drops the ball, but the whistle had gone before that ball came out. So he must have stepped out of bounds on that far sideline. And here you go, close to half-time as we watch that return again, Cole.
Yeah, it was a good return, and Austin wanted to get hold of that ball and punish these Falcons for these 30 yards of penalties on the kickoff, and returns it another 32 yards on the kickoff, giving them excellent field position for the dying seconds of this game. This half, not game.
And how valuable and how costly could those two sideline penalties end up being in the grand scheme of things, particularly if the Steelers can go in from here. And on first down, that running back number 13 turns the corner and he gets out of bounds close to the 20. And that should be enough for a Steeler first down. Wait for the spot from the official. It is. And keeping this one interesting.
Well, interesting that they choose to stay on the ground, isn't it, with a minute left in the half. Well, to trust that running back to get the edge. But we're going to have to see something from Kit Varney if they're going to take this in.
I think it's difficult, though, isn't it? Because the ground game hasn't been overly successful yet for Varney and the Steelers' offense. We know they are more of an aerial attack, but... look at the man, he's just off your screen at the moment to the right. We can see who's that man, that single safety for the Falcons. Who is it?
Just waiting back there, Taylor Brown.
You know, and
you called it, Matt. Let's see what happens.
And this time the ball is handed off inside, and there's a big hole. And number 28, I believe that is, steps and he's met by Brown at the 2-yard line. No, sorry, the 9-yard line. Timeout Steelers. And look at that for a hole up inside the Falcons defensive line.
Yeah, Taylor Brown having to make that saving tackle. Otherwise, that's just rubbing salt in the wound of these penalties for Leicester Falcons. And now, what seemingly seemed like some jesting going on between the referees and the sideline staff here at Leicester has put them in a terrible hole, and their own 9-yard line backed up with Kit Varney having the opportunity to be the hero and take this for a touchdown.
I think that was Ross Barrow, number 20 on the carry there, who just found the middle of that Falcons defense just open up, and I don't think he could believe his luck. So, first and goal. Varney goes to the air, he's got a man, and it's Austin Young. Oh, and does Austin Young...
They've given it.
He is deemed to have maintained possession as he crossed the goal line, and there you have it. So just when you thought the Falcons had put the dagger blow into the hearts. Sorry, it's Chris Wedderburn, number 80, I believe, rather than Austin Young.
I have to check the replay for the number, but just a simple slant play from Kit Varney. There is a flag on the field, but I think they are going to give the touchdown. Here's the replay.
Let's have a look.
It is 88. You're right, Matt.
I think that is 80, actually. I think looking at the number, these are very difficult numbers. The 8s and 0s for the 8s and 0s for the 8s and 0s for the Steelers. Very difficult to tell. I do think that is 80. I think that is Chris Wedderburn.
Taking a helmet off on the field. That's a 15-yard penalty which Leicester have accepted.
So 15-yard penalty on the point after attempt, but the touchdown will stand. It's 6 points to Sandwell. They are on the board, and Leicester Falcons punished for the schoolboy Jake sideline between the coaching staff and the referees.
So what was a 14-0 lead and fully in control for the hometown Falcons now is cut to 14-6, potentially 14-7, but this extra point has been made a little bit more difficult by that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and removing the helmet in the field of play. Alex, our main cameraman's trying to get in on the act of our flag call-in competition, but as we mentioned, as the kick is up, and it is good.
So a great kick from Sandwell
and
to cement that touchdown, and they're within a score, within a normal score, without needing 2 points.
So 14-7. This game is still alive as we are literally seconds away from half-time here at Hinckley. Get in touch with us here at the show if you'd like to Let us know where you're watching from. How are you enjoying this one? This is the best game I've seen all year long. Most competitive, some real athletes on display here. Great schemes, defensive pressure, great athleticism on offense, special teams. It's got the lot.
It does, Matt. These are two teams that are as built, top of the division, high quality football, and you know they're bringing the best out of each other on the field, and that's really what you want to see when two teams like this meet.
Whittaker and Taylor Brown back deep. Is there another twist before halftime? If you're the Steelers special teams coordinator now, you're surely kicking this one as far as you can, or at least getting it to sail through the side of the end zone. Obviously it can't go out of bounds. That will draw a penalty of its own, but you don't want that ball going in the hands of Taylor at this point.
They have kicked a couple through the end zone, so let's see if they can do the same here.
So here we go. The kick is up, and it's headed towards Whittaker, which is probably wise. And Whittaker, it bounces at his feet, goes into the end zone, and that will be a touchback. And Brown not happy with the way that one's turned out, but nevertheless, a few ticks on the clock remain in the first half. And let's see what Leicester do. What do you reckon? Are Leicester going to run anything here? Will they choose to take a knee, try and regroup for a second half?
They're not the type of team that takes a knee. I think they'll probably give it to Marcus Francis and try and run out this clock in the knowledge that they're going to go in with a 7-point lead. But, you know, they must be disappointed by the fact that these Sandwell Steelers have come right back at them and pulled this to within one score.
And even though they had those penalties on that previous drive, the Steelers still had sort of 30, 35 yards to go to punch it in. And like you said earlier, the closer you get to the opponent's end zone, the smaller that field becomes, the easier technically it is to defend, because there's not as much space. So they still, you know, they stepped up the Steelers' offense when they needed to.
They did, and they did that through the running game. So my prediction, all wrong, Matt. Joe Bradner takes a knee. I was just saying how these Leicester Falcons are likely to take a knee, Matt, and there you go.
And I think you called that absolutely perfectly. But here we are at the Leicester Road Football Stadium on this Saturday night game between the top of the table Falcons and the second place Steelers, and we have a 14-7 advantage, which was a comfortable 14-0 advantage with only a minute or so. Steelers have really come back into this one and made this second half something to look forward to.
Yeah, I just felt like the Leicester Falcons relaxed after that second score. There was obviously the penalties, but also Sandwell Steelers suddenly found their running game with a sweep to the right-hand side and then a right up the middle that Taylor Brown had to quickly hustle to make the saving tackle on. And then Kit Varney finds his arm on the slant pattern, and before you know it, they're within a score. So it's been a fantastic half. I've really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the second half, especially now we have a competition that's within one score for both of these teams. Again, Sandwell looking to overcome that monkey on their back of being able to defeat this Leicester Falcons team.
Leicester will get the first opportunity when we return after the break, as they'll receive the second half kickoff. But Carl and I are going to take a breather, go and enjoy the refreshments on offer here at the Leicester Road Stadium, and we will be back with you for live second half coverage in a very short while. So, welcome back to Hinckley, the Leicester Road Football Stadium, for this top-of-the-table clash in the NFC 1 South between the Leicester Falcons and the Sandwell Steelers. I'm Matt Walker, and I'm joined by Carl Walkinshaw this afternoon. Hi again, Carl. Nice burger?
Nice burger and a nice half. Good atmosphere here, Matt.
As Whittaker takes the second half opening kickoff, and he dukes around two men, and that looks like it's going to be a face mask penalty. I'll have that call 2-2.
So Matt Walker straight off the bat, just as Chadwick Whittaker makes a nice return on that opening kickoff. They haven't taken any time to get straight into this half, have they? It started just in the way that the last half finished, with excitement, as Whittaker takes that one all the way to the midway and nearly into Sandwell territory right off the bat.
And with that flag, they will be in Sandwell territory. And here's Muzz Gibson with the call.
Personal foul, face mask, 52, 15 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
So, an early opportunity for the Falcons to extend that lead back to 14 points that it was only seconds before the end of the first half. And if you weren't with us at the end of that first half, there were a couple of sideline penalties against the Falcons, one against the DC and one against the head coach, which put the Steelers in prime field position, and they managed to convert. But it was a debatable touchdown, as not sure really whether or not the receiver had control as he crossed the goal line, but it was given, and we have a score of 14-7. Brammer immediately gets big Marcus Francis into the action to get that ground game rolling again for the Falcons.
Had a chance to have a quick word with Marcus Francis at halftime. Said, "How's the game going for you, Marcus?" He said, "Enjoying the competition." You know, he's been waiting for his chance to get his teeth into a strong defence like this and really test his mettle against the Sandwell Steelers before these Leicester Falcons make their way into the playoff stage of this competition.
And I think, with all due respect to the other teams in this division, it's kind of, other than the other Sandwell Leicester game at the beginning of the season, it's kind of been a long pre-season for both these teams, and their actual seasons start now with this one. And Francis goes round right end. Look at the acceleration from Francis, and he's bumped out of bounds. And I was looking to see if there was a flag there, because it appears he was a yard or two out of bounds after that second hit came in, but nothing doing.
Alexander Roof there, number 65, just making sure that Francis was actually out of bounds, but I thought here for a second he was going to take this one in. But number 26 and 65, Roof, managed to rally on that right sideline. But this is ominous for the Sandwell Steelers. They will not want to go down another score so early in this half.
Lovely change of pace there from Francis round that right end. And here we go. Gums and Francis in the backfield with Brammer. Watts, Whittaker, and Watts comes in motion. And one of the other receivers, as Gums gets the ball to the left side this time. Lovely block by Francis, and Gums cuts it back inside. Picks up positive yardage, and that'll be 2nd and 5. Actually, 2nd and 7 upcoming, looking at where that marker is.
Yeah, if we get a replay on this, it's good defensive work on the edge there to stop Adam Gums being able to get round that left-hand side of that offensive line, turning that play back towards those defenders.
And as we look down onto the field, the pitch has been significantly illuminated, and just as they've turned the floodlights on here, the sun has begun to shine. But
yeah, you can see those long shadows of those players now as this Leicester Falcons gets ready for this down.
Brammer hands off again to Francis, and Francis bounces off a defender, lowers his shoulder again, and is met inside the 10-yard line. It's going to be close to a first down once again for Francis. And I think first down has been signalled, so 1st and goal Leicester.
So the Steelers doing good work there on the edge. Look, just don't manage to get enough of Francis to pull him down. So they're working so hard to stop these running backs from breaking the containment of this defence. Unfortunately, they did the hard work, but Francis is so strong, he's able to get around that edge and turn upfield.
So, 1st and goal, Brammer. Here comes Watts again. Hands the ball off, this time to Gums. And Gums waltzes his way towards the goal line and crosses the goal line for the 3rd Leicester score of the afternoon.
Yeah, on that one, a misdirection play there. Marcus Francis faking the handoff, and it's just enough to create doubt in those linebackers' minds as they pursue towards Francis, who's been churning it up all day, and it's Gums that escapes with the football. Just watch it here on the replay. You can see the fake and the little handoff to number 24, who just barrels his way over that goal line for that touchdown with a man on his back. So Adam Gums adding to the score for these Leicester Falcons.
As Curtis Mayfield booms over the PA in celebration for the Falcons. 3 touchdowns, 3 different scorers, Watts, Brown and now Gums, as the extra point is good and new football please.
Can we have our ball back? That one's gone way over the stand, so he goes from driving the ball almost into his offensive lineman's back to knocking that one way over the stands for the extra point is good.
So the last 3 offensive possessions, 2 for the Falcons, 1 for the Steelers, we've seen 3 touchdowns. Is that a sign of things to come? Have these defenses worn themselves out with their play and their real stringent play on both defenses in the first half?
Yeah, you're right, Matt. It's suddenly come to life, hasn't it, in terms of scoring. We just now want to see whether Sandwell can answer back so quickly as they did at the end of the second half, without the opportunity to have 30 yards of penalties from the shenanigans that were going on from the sideline. But can the Sandwell Steelers actually mount a drive of their own to stay in this one?
Austin Young, number 88, and Callum Davidson back to return. Sun in their eyes, and as you said earlier, Carl, those long shadows will make this one difficult for them to pick out. Let's see where Danny Burton places it. Sandwell could do with a good starting field position to help their cause to narrow this 14-point lead again, and Burton elects to kick to Davidson, and it bounces over Davidson's head. He fields the ball, walks through the end zone and takes a knee. Not sure about that, because obviously I know it's all sort of only seconds, but you're 14 points down. You don't really want to be letting ticks fall off the clock like that.
I guess he's thinking, make those Leicester Falcons keep running and maybe wear them out for the next series, but every inch counts, I guess.
Very much a game of inches. Seconds dictate, as we've seen. We thought Leicester were going to walk in 14-0 leaders at the half with only a few seconds left, and then 2 penalties and a 30-yard plus drive from the Steelers saw that deficit cut to 7 points. The Falcons managed to extend their lead early after the good return by Whittaker at the opening second half kickoff, added with the personal foul face mask penalty. But here goes Varney, and Varney fumbles the ball and it is on the ground, and the running back has no option but to drop on it, and it is that number 13, and we've got a name for you. It's Dwayne Horton, number 13. Managed to get a name for you at half-time.
Well, if you look at that formation on the field, Sandwell have changed their spread. They're bringing receivers in on the right-hand side, 2 running backs in the backfield that we haven't seen. So they wanted to make that adjustment and come out and stun the Falcons with something new. Unfortunately, muffed again on the snap. Kit just not able to handle that ball.
It was Varney, unfortunately. It was a good snap and the ball just went through Varney's fingers. See if he can get anything going this time, and the ball is handed off, and it's handed off to the right hand side, and that's Horton again. Horton picks up 3 yards, but it will now be 3rd and long.
So it'll be interesting to see what Sandwell want to do with this new formation, maybe to protect that ball a little better. They almost look like the Leicester Falcons, don't they, with 2 running backs, 1 to either side of the quarterback, which is exactly what Leicester Falcons have been running all day long.
Realistically now, at this stage in the game, I know it's early in the second half, but this 3rd and long play, 3rd and 17, as you can see on your screen, you've really got to put the ball in Varney's hands now and make him go downfield. A 3 and out is not what the Steelers need at this point.
First thing he's got to do, Matt, is get hold of this ball off the snap.
Which sounds easy, but under this pressure, and you can see we're only bringing 3 men, and he's got a man, and he's going over the top, and look at Taylor Brown again. Rose like a salmon.
Taylor Brown is something to see. Just sideline to sideline, way off the ball. You can see it arrives as the ball arrives. The timing, perfect.
That was exactly what was in my mind, the timing. Waltzed over to that sideline and timed his leap to perfection. So, unfortunately for Sandwell, it is 3 and out. That's happened a little too often for the Steelers like in this afternoon, but that's down to the dominance, really, of this Falcons defense. Just that one lapse, really, on that series at the end of the first half. But other than that, they have been dominant. Taylor is hovering at his 40-yard line. And the ball is up and it's squibbed, and it's Whittaker who's got an open lane, and then that closes quickly. And number 42 for the Steelers, Matthew Hoytson.
Yeah, quick thinking from both players, wasn't it? I mean, Whittaker not expecting the ball to come to him, comes straight to him, takes it really well, and then he's off. And again, a nice tackle from number 42.
But the wheels are about to come off for the Steelers as the Falcons pick the ball up on the Steelers' 25.
Yeah, just when they needed a good punt from Greg Freeman, he wasn't able to execute that one to the way that he's been punting so far in this game. Early chances here for Leicester to put this game away.
Interesting, looking at the mascot on the sideline here for the Falcons. I like it. It's a decent mascot for British football. It looks good. He's wearing number 41, and I'm wondering whether that's anything to do with the fact that Guy Kersey, GM for the Falcons, as Brown goes in motion. 41 used to be Guy's playing number. As Brammer drops back and he's looking for Watts in the corner of the end zone, and Watts makes an incredible catch over the defender. Once again, he didn't get his head round. That's number 3, Gareth Thomas, who we mentioned making a good play in the first half. But Watts from Brammer for his second score of the afternoon, and just wrestled it away over Gareth Thomas's back.
Whoa! What have you got to do to defend these receivers? Good position, has an opportunity to make the play, but has to get his head around. He has a quick look. It's a wrestle. And number 21 again comes away with it, just showing extra strength and confidence to pull that ball away at the back of the end zone.
Kieran Watts. And again, from your defensive viewpoint, and I know sort of, no offence, but DBs, you're okay with DBs?
Am I okay? As the
and another
ball
ball
goes over the. Can we have our other ball back, please? Yeah, defensive backs. They've got to get your head round. Got to make sure that you have an opportunity to make a play on the ball. But if you can't see the ball, then you can't make a play on the ball.
At what point has a DB got to get his head round to the point where he's then caught ball watching and the separation from the receiver is too much for him to make up?
So if you have separation from a receiver, you're taught to attack the basket as the ball arrives. But in that situation there, where there's not that much separation between the defender and the receiver, you would expect an equal 50-50 chance of the ball. The defender stood in front of the receiver, you get your head round, and you drive to that football just in the way a receiver would. And that's what he wasn't doing there, and that's why Watts came away with that touchdown.
So would the idea be that as Thomas sees Watts looking for the ball and high pointing the ball, that's when the head goes round to...
He looks, you look, you both go for the ball, and that's when you get an opportunity to make a pick. Or at least run interference so you can knock that ball away. But if you can't see it, you can't play it.
As we've mentioned already today, two quick scores, two short fields for the Falcons, two quick scores, and already now you've got a 21-point deficit for Sandwell to claw the way back into as Young fields it but muffs it, then does get a chance to pick it up again because it's a flatter kick. He makes his first man miss. He's still on his feet, out to the 15, up to close to the 20-yard line, and Sandwell really now, this is do or die on this series.
It is. I'm just checking notes from last season, and it jogged my mind, in terms of Leicester going up 28 points, and one of the highlights that Sandwell state in their media pack that they sent through was that having gone 28-0 down in the first half, the Steelers fought back last year to take the win. They need some of that magic here tonight if they're going to get back into this game.
Obviously, resting Tristan Varney this evening. Are you aware? Is there a significant drop-off? Obviously, Tristan's the starter and therefore deemed to be the more effective player. Is it just an experience thing with Kit rather than anything else?
Kit Varney's a new quarterback. Tristan Varney is a tried and tested quarterback. Let's not lay any doubts. He's won championships with the Birmingham Lions. He's played Great Britain football. He's represented his country. He's a very, very good, competent quarterback. It is a loss to them tonight not to have him on the field. At the same time, Kit Varney is where Tristan was maybe 6-7 years ago, just making his way, finding his feet and getting tuition from his brother and other coaches around him.
Handed off this time to Horton, and Horton picks up a couple before he's met by that defensive front for the Falcons. Do you think with the setting of this game, we've already said that Sandwell can't win the division, would there be any mileage, because a heavy defeat here would be play very well into the hands of the Falcons moving forward. Is there any mileage in bringing Tristan on for any point in this game, or are those ribs too important for the playoffs?
Ribs too important for the playoffs, Matt. You've got an opportunity to do something in the playoffs. You want to protect that.
That's a nice pass that time from Kit out to Austin Young once again, and Austin Young picks up the first down, and that's positive for Sandwell.
Yeah, it was nice. We saw a couple of those balls being lofted in the first half, didn't we? And he's clearly decided he's just going to put that on a string, zip it in there, and that's what he's done. And that was accurate this time.
So, first down. First down, Sandwell. In this third period of action here from Hinckley in the East Midlands. In this fantastic 2018 summer that we're all experiencing at the moment. And Horton finds a seam this time. He picks up a first down and more. And he's on his feet at the 40. Dragged down at the 36-yard line. And into Falcons territory for a Sandwell first down.
That's great running from Horton. If you just watch here his feet as he sees those defenders coming across his body, just takes a little sidestep, lets the defender go past him and picks up those extra yards, cutting back against the grain in time into space.
Number 94, Oleg Stroy, was the man who eventually brought him down as Varney drops back to pass again, and he hits Austin Young for a pickup of 2. And he's then pushed back after that original reception, but it will be 2nd and 8 for Sandwell, and now they've got something moving, and to be fair, they had to, really.
They haven't, and this is much better from Varney. He's taking his time, he's picking his man, he's checking that he's open, and he's zipping no ball in there with some poise and with some focus, and that's what he needs to do.
Austin Young, number 88, does go to the far side of the field once again. 2 running backs in this time. Horton goes in motion, and the ball is handed off, and this time it's handed off, and there's another seam. Great blocking from that offensive line for the Steelers, and another Sandwell first down.
Similar play to the one they ran at the end of that first half, wasn't it? Where number 28 just barrels his way up the middle of the field, and Taylor Brown had to make the saving tackle. This time Leicester rally, but that's a first down.
Again, we are struggling. I think that's number 20. That is, these 8s and 0s do look significantly similar, but that is number 20, the running back. The only reason I question that, and that's Ross Barrow, the only reason I question that is because we've got number 28 down on our roster notes as being a linebacker. So Barrow again with the handoff. He's going a long way laterally, and look who meets him there. That man's Freuf, Michael Freuf.
Yeah, great pursuit there from Freuf. Just sideline to sideline from that middle linebacker position. Tracks the running back, waits for the cutback, and as the running back cuts back, boom, Freuf arrives and meets him in the hole for no gain.
Apologies if we're mispronouncing the names. Just heard our stadium announcer, who is obviously with the Leicester team, pronounce that as Freuf. So apologies if we've offended the family there, but nevertheless, incredible lateral pursuit and finish the play off as Varney swings the ball out to Horton, and Horton has a little bit of room, and he's got great tap tackle right at the end by Taylor. Taylor Brown looked to avoid giving up 6 points there with that last tackle.
Yeah, Taylor Brown again with a saving tackle, but what a great play here. Just throws the ball to him like an extended handoff. We've talked about it before, Matt, in previous games, extending that. Just getting the running back the football, and Horton doing a great job to bring them even closer to that goal line. Now on the 15-yard line with a 3rd and 5.
And that was a touchdown saving tackle. He was the last man, Taylor Brown, there. Horton would have been eyeing up that end zone for Sandwell's second score, but to no avail. Instead, it brings up 3rd and 3.
Interesting to see those 2 running backs still in the backfield.
And there's Barrow once again, and Barrow is snagged by Freuf. And that will bring up 4th and 3. No gain on the play. No option, surely. Got to go for it here. Varney stays in the game. Davidson's in the game. Lee French has come into the game for Barrow. Checked in. Big number 91 rumbles onto the field for the Falcons. Luke Greery, another defensive end, comes on.
So that 2 running back set the
Time out, Leicester. That's their first. 4 minutes 40. 4-0.
You were right to spot the players running on and off the field there, Matt. I'm not sure Leicester had the right players that they wanted on the field, so they call a timeout just to look at their personnel for this critical 4th and 5 play. But interesting to see those 2 running backs in the backfield for Sandwell. They're having some success with that. Of course, Leicester have had tremendous success with that formation already.
Is Leicester's mindset that 21 points ahead, Sandwell may be forced to go to the air more, and therefore the run defence is a little softer?
I think where they have had success through the air, it's been in these short little passes. They've tried to go deep a couple of times. When you can't get the ball deep, you can't extend the defence. So it means that the defence can play in a much more compact position on the field. They can play closer to that line of scrimmage because you can't extend them with those deep passes. If they complete even one of those, the defence has to honour them.
Sure.
But it means people like Taylor Brown can come up, as we've seen, and make those tackles, you know, in the running back's backfield.
So here we go then, big 4th down. If Sandwell can convert, and it keeps their hopes alive. If not, as the ball looked for Davidson, Davidson makes a great grab, bounces off 2 tacklers, and he's in the end zone for 6.
They're back in the game. They're back in the game. Just when they needed it.
Brave reception, not only because he was coming across the middle on that slant pattern, in fact it was more of a post than a slant, but he extended his arms out in front of him knowing that safety was going to be there.
Well, first of all, it's a great throw, but 2 defenders have a chance to drop him on the 1 yard line, and he just bounces off, spins out and scores.
But that's the first thing I think Taylor Brown's done wrong. He didn't seem to wrap, he just tried to deliver the boom, didn't get his arms around him, and Davison was able to, as you say, bounce off and spin in for 6.
Yeah.
Kick is up, and the extra point is good.
The difference that time on the tackle is where Taylor Brown has been arriving as the ball arrives, he's able to knock it out. On that play, the ball had already arrived, the receiver had secured it. You have to then go for the tackle, you can't then go for the football.
So, turning into a real good one here. A lot of teams, look at that, extended, and there's Taylor, who actually he doesn't square him up either. He leads with that shoulder, and unfortunately, as a result, Callum Davison has the strength not only to maintain possession of the ball, but to keep his balance and roll in for 6. And the way he reacted, Callum, I think he was as surprised as anybody that he wasn't brought down.
Yeah, did I just spin off Taylor Brown? What happened then? But yeah, you can't, if you're going to go for that football, it has to be as the ball arrives. Once the ball's there and secured by that receiver, good form tackle's what you need.
Well, this one is living up to expectations as Taylor Brown stands there, ruin that mistake, and will be eager to get the football in his hands and atone for that error, allowing Sandwell to get back to a 14-point deficit, and the visitors will be buoyed by that whole offensive series, to be fair. So here's the kickoff. Where's that ball going? They kick it to Whittaker again, and Whittaker fields nicely at his 10-yard line, and he starts to get upfield, and he's met and stopped at the 25, and it looks like a bit of there's a little bit of some handbags there, and it's Edwards, I think that is. It is Adam Edwards, number 9. He's pushed to the floor, and then wisely he's pulled off by his own teammate.
Yeah, he won't want to see that played back, Adam Edwards. But the point about this is every time Leicester Falcons have scored, they've tended to relax a little bit on defence, allowed these Sandwell Steelers to come back into the game. Still 2 scores ahead for these Leicester Falcons, but you just get the sense that whenever they score, they relax, and that's something they're going to need to deal with as they move into the playoffs, because teams will become even more eager to punish them for those lapses in concentration after scores.
Tom Jarrett in motion, and this time we have a new running back in for the Falcons, and that is Ashton Patterson, who checks in.
We saw a bit of Ashton Patterson against Shropshire, very talented runner, still I think fairly new to the game, but cut his teeth against Shropshire and did a really good job.
2nd and 10 upcoming, and what was, up until the last minute and a half or so of the first half, it was a 6-0 game. Real defensive battle. It's now turned into a shootout.
Yeah, these offences have really come to life. I don't know what it is. Maybe the defenders are slightly tired. I doubt it, though, this early in the second half. I just think these offences are really now looking to stamp their authority on this game.
Jarrett and Watts as Watts comes in motion. Whitaker on this near side. Brammer takes off himself. It looks like a designed... Oh, I don't know, actually. No. It's a bit of a broken play all round. He looked to his right as he received the ball, almost expecting to give that to one of his running backs, and running back had a different idea, and therefore Brammer just had to see what he could do. And as a result, ran about 15 yards laterally and lost about 8 yards vertically. So that will bring up 3rd and 18.
Yeah, Brammer is the kind of quarterback that's difficult in the pocket, scrambles around, but you get him running in a straight line, you can chase him down, and that's exactly what the Sandwell Steelers did. Good defence in terms of containing him and being able to bring him down this time.
So it would appear at the moment in this third quarter that the momentum is going slightly with the visitors. If they can hold this latest third down attempt by Brammer and the Falcons, get the ball back in relatively good field position, maybe they can cut that lead again, and this time it's Ogundana. And Ogundana is stepped, and what a great step and a fantastic effort for a Falcons first down.
Yeah, look at those dancing feet. Ogundana, two-cut runner into the hole, goes left, goes right, and that's a first down.
You've got to be disappointed as a defence there, giving up 3rd and 18 on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, he has a huge hole to start with, but also he just has a feel. He's one of these running backs that's able to track the defenders around him. So if he sees a defender coming across his body, he can quickly make a stop in the ground, change direction like a fish, and come out the other end.
That was a great step. Real great step there. He drew that defender in, stepped him, and then opened up for another 6 yards where he was. And this time Ogundana gets the carry again. There's those fast feet again, dancing through the line. I think that's Danny Williams who ends up meeting him after a 4-yard game. It'll be 2nd and 6 upcoming.
And this is the sort of depth we were talking about at the running back position that these Leicester Falcons have. They take Marcus Francis off the field, they take Gums off the field, and they don't lose a step. Still hugely effective running from
Patterson,
Ogundana.
Absolutely. They've obviously got the weapons out wide as well. Kieran Watts has been extremely effective. Taylor Brown obviously does it all, and he's checked into the game now as you see him heading over to this towards the camera. It's 2nd and 6. Watts in motion once again off to the left side, and Brammer is looking, and he steps him into the pocket. This time he's corralled, and that's a sack. First sack of the game for number 99, and that's Stephen Kilvington. Called his name a few times.
He had Brown wide open on the slant, and Brown's waving his arm in the air. You'll see it to the bottom of your screen. Watch Taylor Brown waving his arm. Give me the ball, give me the ball. Brammer holding on to it too long there, and the Sandwell Steelers rally for the sack.
Good pressure after the disappointment of giving up 3rd and 18 a couple of days ago. Falcons now face another 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 11 now after the sack. So 3rd and 11 upcoming for the Falcons,
Leicester,
and they take their 2nd time out of the half.
Yeah, they want to have a look and see what they would do on this 3rd down play.
That's their second
If
time
they,
out.
if Sandwell get the ball back here and score, you've got then a 1-score game again, and that's the situation that the Leicester Falcons want to avoid. That's why the timeout. That's why they want to take their time and just look at this 3rd and 11 call, because it's an absolutely critical play in terms of the momentum of this football game.
So, interesting, like you say, taking the 2nd time out early in the 3rd quarter. They're obviously concerned. They're concerned that the offense isn't quite clicking like it was rather. Even though they've had those 2 big runs from Ogundana on this drive. 28-14, 6-0 sounded like a... Well, actually 14-0 sounded like an unsurmountable deficit for the Steelers at one point. And now their offense is rolling a little bit. That 14 lead doesn't really feel as comfortable.
No, critical time in the game. I think look at the factors that you've got. You've got 3rd and 11. You've got a Sandwell team that have momentum and are able to score. You've got a situation where you're halfway through or just past halfway through the 3rd quarter. This is a critical down, Matt.
Falcons will be buoyed by the fact they converted 3rd and 18 not so long ago. That will probably be in the mind of the defensive coordinators for the Steelers as well, and that's going to be a false start on number 70 for the Falcons. Tom McCormick.
Before the play began, false start, offence, pretty much everyone.
Oh, love it. Great call by Mus Gibson there. That is, I do think it was McCormick who moved slightly early, but pretty much everybody will go down on the stat sheet.
Referees also enjoying the atmosphere of this game. There really is a kind of playoff feel about this. It has a tension about it, but also the opportunity for some humour there from the referees.
Can you? I haven't got. I don't know what number pretty much everyone is on. He's not on our roster. Pretty much everyone. So, but nevertheless, what's in motion again? It's 3rd and 16, and he's looking for Taylor, and he's got in and out of the hands that time. And Taylor comes up limping and grabs the back of his knee. A little bit of a twinge there, and I don't know if it's just an embarrassed twinge or not, but
I don't know. It looked like as he came off that line of scrimmage, he was limping, and he's down on one knee now at the 40-yard line of Sandwell, and that doesn't look good for Taylor Brown. And we just hope that this is not a situation, especially with his mum watching. We hope this is not a serious one for Taylor.
There is no flag on the play. That was from the previous false start penalty. But that is not a great sight for the Falcons. Taylor lying prone on his back at midfield. Well, at this stage then, we've got a bit of an injury timeout now. If you are watching from around the country and you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to read some of your messages out. Love to try and read some messages out. So if you can, if you want to get in touch with us, hashtag is Le versus San.
That's what I like about American football. You see Coach Stuart Andrew there coming out to check on the progress of Taylor Brown and just seeing that player's okay and helping him up there as well. And that's the sort of camaraderie that there is between these two teams.
That's not a good sight. Taylor's not even barely putting any weight on that leg, and
yeah, getting a clap from everyone, including the referees here and ourselves up in the booth. Taylor Brown, just an extraordinary gifted athlete, and has just been a show reel for him today, and we wish him all the best in terms of recovering from what we hope will be a simple issue of just a hamstring that's had a slight twinge.
It looked innocuous. Sometimes these innocuous looking injuries can be worse than first expected, but hopefully he'll be fit to walk down the aisle on Monday, let alone play any more football. So, punt from Danny Burton then. Lovely high hanging kick, and Austin Young is going to get out of the way of that one, and it's shepherded down by I think that's Ogundana again. It is, who manages to grab the ball, but there is a flag on the far side of the field. I'll give you this one. Since I'm 4-2 ahead on the flag count at the minute, we'll give you a go at this one, Coach.
Blocking the back.
Just.
But there was no return, so how can it be blocking the back?
Exactly. So I don't think that's right. Guess again. Number 94.
So you're just going to keep asking me till I say ridiculous things?
No, I'm just trying to. You moan at me when I don't give you an opportunity to call them, because I'm obviously play-by-play. So I just like to give you an opportunity once now and again.
Illegal procedure. 5 men in the backfield. 5 yards. Re-kick.
So unfortunately, you missed your opportunity.
Another blown opportunity.
Winning these games is all about taking your opportunities, taking your chances.
Thing is, mate, you keep putting me under pressure. Look, I don't put you under pressure to make these calls.
Right. Well, I'm going to say to you now, the next flag is yours, okay? Whatever. The next flag is yours.
Pressure. What I did want to say is that down, the third down play where Taylor Brown got injured, was an absolutely critical play, but the Sandwell Steelers are going to have to exploit this. Is that Taylor Brown back on the field?
No, look down.
Oh, they're carrying Taylor Brown off on the sideline.
Unfortunately, he looks in significant discomfort as well. But here's Danny Burton with another punt after his first one was excellent. It's just, look at Ogundana down there. Off like a greyhound, Ogundana. And realistically, as much as it was a decent punt from Burton, it wasn't anything like the first one, but Ogundana beat it down there.
And here's the thing, Matt. Can the Sandwell Steelers now exploit the momentum that has shifted their way at this point in the game? This is an absolutely critical series. If they are not able to make ground on this series, it will be very difficult later on in the game to come back. You would expect something special from the Steelers on this drive.
Obviously, this game isn't about one man, and one man cannot win a game and cannot win a championship. But the talisman of this team is Taylor Brown, and he brings so much leadership as well as the skill set he brings. As the ball is handed off to Horton, and Horton steps out to the first tackle, but he's snagged close to the line of scrimmage for a pickup of nothing.
So Leicester have replaced Taylor Brown with Joel Gregoire, and we will see how that plays out, because Joel now has a huge challenge on his hands to fill those shoes as we move into this fourth quarter.
So that is the end of the third quarter here in Hinckley, Leicester Road Football Stadium, between the Sandwell Steelers and the top of the table Leicester Falcons. And it is going the way on the scoreboard of the Leicester Falcons currently, but they have just lost one of their superstars, Taylor Brown, who is currently on the physio's bench, looking in some distress, it must be said. And how will that impact not only today's game, but the Falcons' chances in the playoffs? Hopefully we're going to bring you some tweets, some messages from you guys during this fourth quarter. I know you've been tweeting in your thousands, so we'll try and get to some of those if we can before the end of the show. Fourth quarter, one football period left, Carl. Can Sandwell do this?
It's going to be tough.
So first down, Varney. That's going to be the way it's been thrown in. Interesting. The play was a free play because I think... Oh, it's yours. Sorry, it's yours. It's your flag. Come on, you've got to be able to call this one. It's a piece of cake.
This is neutral zone infraction by the defence, isn't it? A 5-yard penalty,
Exactly.
and I think that you'll know that was a free play, that one.
Offside. Number 12 on the defence. 5 yards. Still second down.
Leveled the score 4-4. All to play for. All to play for. I lead the series 1-0, but you could tie up the series this afternoon with calls like that.
So not only is we play every week, but also there's a series going on?
Well, we played once last week, and now we're playing again, so that's at least a 2-match series between us. Second down, 2nd and 5 after the penalty. As Varney
Blitz off the edge.
Big blitz from the little screen pass set up, well sniffed out. And that is sniffed out by Pete Sandham, linebacker.
They had the perfect play called, the screen pass, but that linebacker, number 12, just able to sniff it out and avoid any kind of gain. Good pressure off the edge here, unblocked.
Pete Sandham. You're obviously going to get more pressure when you're running a screenplay, because those offensive linemen are largely going to ignore the rush and try and draw the defense into the quarterback.
We've got a Sandwell Steeler down now to the near side. Is on your screen there. You can see the coaches waving for the physio to come over.
I think that's 88, Austin Young, who we've mentioned a few times this afternoon.
So this game taking its toll on both sides, with players going down over the last few minutes.
I've got a message in here from Caro Freeman. Caro Freeman up in with Lancashire. Oh, it's number 80. So it's Chris Wedderburn.
Yeah, good to see Chris on his feet and making his own way under his own power back to the Sandwell Steelers sideline.
So Caro Freeman up in Lancashire with the Wolverines there. Hi Matt and Carl, hope you're both well. I'm watching most of my family live with you right now. Go Steelers. Good to know you're tuning in, Caro.
I know Caro very well. Really great lady. Did a lot of work for Great Britain team. Does great work up there in Lancashire. And I know she'll be watching Greg and others.
So here comes 3rd and 6, actually. And Varney looking for Davidson again on that similar pattern and really asking him to do a bit much. Asking Davidson to do a lot there, and it's not a point in the game yet where Sandwell feel like they can go for it. So on comes the punting unit.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a critical drive for Sandwell Steelers. They would have wanted to have done well on that drive, and with that incomplete pass, it's going to bring up that man again, Greg Freeman, to punt the ball. Wind going in his direction, in his favour.
So here we go. Freeman with Mon Macaro watching on. Back deep is Whittaker, and that's a lovely, another fantastic kick, and Whittaker lets it bounce in front of him, and now, really interesting decision from Whittaker there to pick it up at the last minute. Anything could have happened there.
Yeah, not the best decision from Whittaker. Hesitant in terms of not coming up to field the ball quickly, even on could have called the fair catch and taken the ball securely. Lets it bounce and then follows the ball back before trying to pick it up with dangerous Sandwell Steelers bearing down upon him. Lucky to get away with that one.
So here come Leicester once again. Just had confirmation that Taylor Brown is done for the game. He's still down there on the physio's bench. So significant development for this game, and we wonder for how long that will be the case. Brammer and the offense back to work. Jarrett in motion this time, and there's Marcus Francis. Great block from Gums, which releases Francis, and Francis goes around the left side. No flags on the play, with a fantastic block from Kieran Watts on his DB once again, and he's into Sandwell territory.
Yeah, we've been singing the praises of Marcus Francis, but look at these blocks. Number 24, Gums, stops 99 from getting it. Then you've got Kieran Watts just in front of him there with another block on that defensive back. Maybe a bit of a hold there, but no referee to see it. And there's Marcus Francis with that turn of pace round that edge. But that's when you get long runs, Matt. It's when these receivers and running backs are blocking downfield and giving you opportunities to run to space.
First down, Falcons. Just past the midfield stripe. 28-14 lead. Sandwell's final game of the regular season. Leicester have one more against Doncaster as Gums gets the carry this time, and Gums trundles forward. Stiff arming, man, the ball comes out, but he's down, and there is a flag on the play once again.
Sandwell desperate for a sniff of that football.
I think this one is going to be against Sandwell.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. 65, that's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
I'm not claiming that one. I've got the right team, but I'm not claiming that one, so score remains 4 apiece.
Another opportunity goes begging. Just reflecting on Taylor Brown's day, we know that confirmation that he won't be rejoining the team, but he's had some highlights today, hasn't he? I mean, just tremendous on defense and making spectacular catches towards the end of that first half, including a touchdown.
So first down, Francis this time gets the carry. He's dragged down by number 85 for the Steelers. That's Adam Bates. And now this Steelers defense really needs to stiffen once again.
They're wearing them down, Matt. It was such a critical drive, that last drive for Sandwell. Really had an opportunity there. It was that point in the game that you really wanted to see them pull a score out of the bag when they'd held Joe Brammer incomplete on third down, Taylor's injury. And they haven't been able to do that. And as a result, momentum goes back to Leicester. They're able to keep running that football. And it's just wearing this team down now. This defender's been on the field a long time.
Watts once again in motion, and Francis receives the handoff, and he once again goes through the first defender, and it takes 2 Sandwell defenders to bring him down, but not before he's got another Falcons first down.
That trap play that they're running continues to work, as you see. It's just an inside zone play, isn't it? It's Marcus Francis asked to pick the hole. One opens up, and he barrels his way through again, and we've seen it all day long.
First down for the Falcons, just outside the 10-yard line, so they can secure another first down without actually scoring a touchdown.
Steelers need a turnover here if they've got any hope. They need to get this ball. It's not just about stopping them here. They need the football.
Here comes Watts again. Francis fakes that handoff, and that misdirection play goes to Gums. Gums is met immediately.
There was a hell of a collision there with number 9, I believe, for Sandwell Steelers, who's just lying on his back right now, taking stock of where he is and maybe who he is, because he did take a bang to the head right there.
And immediately the physio has gone in there and securing the helmet just to make sure we can't move that neck, but now the helmet comes off, so they can't be overly concerned about the neck area.
That's Alex Mackenzie Grist.
So while we've
took
got
a bang to the head,
sorry, Carl. While we've got this breaking play, a few tweets for you. Richard Swain, watching from Wales. Wish I could be there. Good to know you're watching. Katie Hughes, the Falcons are playing so well. Best players of the game, Francis, Brown and Gums, as we say Francis there on the replay. Still on the edge of our seats, me and my son Hayden screaming and dancing around the living room. We're in Northampton, so good to know you're on board.
Can't argue with those players as well.
Absolutely.
Highlights from those players have been fantastic today.
Like you said already numerous times, the depth in talent that Leicester have got. And yes, Taylor's a big loss, but that running back stable, those four backs who can all come on and contribute in different ways, from Francis' power to Ogundana's agility. You've got Kieran Watts with the height at receiver, Tom Jarrett at receiver as well.
We haven't even seen Gabidon, number 7, today at all, and he's one of their standout receivers for the Leicester Falcons.
So we've just had confirmation from the sideline that Taylor Brown is a hamstring injury, but the good news is for Leicester and for Taylor that it's not considered to be a significant hamstring injury, more of a tweak rather than anything significant. So that's good news both for Taylor's football future and also for his wedding day. Nothing worse than limping down the aisle.
Yeah, and all the planning that goes into that
Absolutely.
day. You don't want to have to change the day because the bride's going to say, well, I don't care if you're on crutches, you're coming.
Absolutely. Mum's come over from America especially for the big day, and I believe his fiance's family are coming in from Lithuania. So yeah.
So you're just watching on the field now the concussion protocol that they're going through with this player of the Sandwell Steelers, and it's so much more important now to get these concussion protocols right. We'll take a break in the game, but we want to make sure that this player is safe before we move him. And it does seem, Matt, another commentary, another injury.
It does seem that, and out comes the stretcher, which is never a good sign either. But yes, it does seem that longer, more serious injuries are more prevalent when Mr. Walkinshaw's in the booth.
Well, at least it's not when I'm on the field, man.
That's true. Well, when in those days, it was you that was supplying the hits for the injuries. It was that fierce number 33 bearing down on you. If he'd got you in his sights, then there's no getting away from him.
It's good to see this player now sitting up. Actually, they're just supporting his back and doing various checks. Make sure he's okay.
Glossing over the comments about your playing days, you were a formidable linebacker, Carl, weren't you?
No, and I enjoyed it. That's why I played the game. I enjoyed the tackling. I enjoyed the contact. It was what I played for. You know, some people play for the touchdowns, and I played for the tackling and the physical contact.
Some highlights here, and there's that dropped interception from
some highlights of Taylor Brown by the looks of things. Yeah.
Well, that's Joel Gregoire, who is subbed in for Taylor, so hoping he can make a bit more of an impact. So yeah, obviously replays now from this afternoon. Some of the highlights. But this is the one where Brammer extended the play, and where really Taylor Brown first came into the game with that athletic reception.
Yeah, and Joe Brammer just did so well to keep that play alive, nice and calm, and Taylor Brown on the end of that football, you just put it up. It's a 50-50 ball, you know Taylor's going to go up and get it.
And up until that point, Taylor's role was really just on defence and special teams. And then next play, Brammer steps up again, feeling the pressure, and floats that one perfectly over the defenders' heads, which we just managed to get on camera, and there's Taylor's touchdown for the afternoon.
Yeah, and to be alive, to see Taylor Brown diving for that football, and then also going in, here's the jump, in for the 2 points as well. So he's just been a one-man highlight reel show today as Taylor Brown, and He's given his mum a lot to cheer about, and he's given us a lot to cheer about. And I hope he's fit and healthy for those playoffs, because a player like that just brings so much magic to the game. It's fun to watch. He's great to commentate on, and the type of players that you're happy when you're sat up here in the booth, because it makes things nice and easy when players like that are performing.
And there's another highlight, the timing of that tipped pass, intended for that Sandwell receiver, but Brown just giving the support out there to Alex James. And that's where we are in this one in the fourth quarter. 28-14 to Sandwell. We thought it'd be a close game. We thought it'd be competitive. It's definitely been that. There've been highlights on the Sandwell side of the ball as well. They've obviously scored those 2 touchdowns. Defense has held up, particularly in the first half. Defense has held up significantly impressively for the Steelers. But it's a funny one to call, because like we've said, this is probably going to be the matchup in the playoffs. First round of the playoffs. Will Taylor be back, all being well for Leicester? Do Sandwell bounce back, having lost twice then in the regular season to these Falcons?
Yeah, you can see Noel Cassar just bringing his team together there and asking them to finish this game. I don't know how long this injury is going to last, but they're taking every precaution at bringing out that backboard and just making sure that the player is stable. It was a nasty bang to the head.
We heard
the impact up here, and no one's fault. Just one of those things that happens in this game.
And as much as you hate to see it happen, anybody who dons a pair of pads and a helmet know the inherent risks that are associated with this game, and all we can do is, as a football family and a community, wish that injured player all the very best and a speedy recovery.
Players from Sandwell coming onto the field now to help get their injured brother off the field and safe.
We were actually talking in our luxury tour bus on the way down to this game, Carl. We were talking about playing offense or defense, and whether or not it's more likely to be injured playing defense or playing offense, and you would automatically assume that the injuries will occur more on the offensive side of the ball, because they're the players who are receiving most of the hits. But that was obviously a defensive player who's taken that one. Taylor Brown, I know he was on offense when he sustained his hamstring injury, but what are your thoughts on where is there a riskier side of the ball to play?
There's definitely been a push to improve tackling. You saw it start in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks adopting the more rugby style of tackling. Fascinating story, actually, the way the Seattle Seahawks came to learn about rugby style tackling and the techniques that are used over here in terms of rugby style was from a Birmingham Lions, a conversation with our own Birmingham Lions university team out there visiting, and I think it was Kit Lawson had mentioned that the technique that the Seattle Seahawks really wanted to use was in fact a rugby tackling technique. And as a result, the coaches ran with it, and they've followed that tackling technique all the way through. But in answer to your question, Matt, that's why there's such an emphasis on tackling, because it does come with inherent risk of serious injury if you get it wrong.
Absolutely. In the obviously in back in the day, it was all about keeping that head up. It's still about keeping your heads up, but the focus has changed, like you say, particularly with the concussions. Anyway, we're back underway here, and Brammer looking to keep this play alive, and he scrambles, rolls to his right, puts the ball up, looking for Watts, and Watts has got another one! Touchdown, Leicester! And that, once again, is Brammer making things happen.
Yeah, making things happen with his feet, rolls to his right, and then it's just an excellent play by number 21. And did a great job, did Kyron Watts, just making himself available. See, it's that little chair pattern. He goes out, goes up, and there he is in the end zone and snatches it from the corner of the end zone. Does a fantastic job in bringing it in. And it was that critical drive. I hate to go back to it, but it was a critical drive where Sandwell had to score. They didn't manage to do that. Momentum went back to Leicester, and now the score to Leicester. And now you've got this big lead for the Leicester Falcons. Sandwell have had their opportunities, haven't been able to capitalise on them.
And there is a flag on that play where the extra point is up and good from Burton. Let's see what this flag is. Care to hazard a guess?
Again, you're distracting me, Matt, and putting me under pressure to make this call. False start.
Not so sure. Is that what's been called? No, because otherwise, sure. Well, this is what we had last time.
Personal foul.
Can you?
Roughing the centre. 15 yards on the kickoff.
Now, hang on a minute.
We don't hear that a lot.
Last week, do you remember last week there was a penalty called on an extra point?
I do.
And the referee came over and said, flag is waved off, penalties don't count on extra points.
Yeah, and it's not a dead ball foul, so but you have to, you know the rule, Matt, which is you can't touch the centre for more than a second. You have to give them a second to snap the football.
Looking like a bit of a bitter tweet there. G Lee's 31. That's George, who is obviously usually in comms with me. Demoted to the tech booth today. Won't let me out to play in front of camera. Great game so far. It has been a fantastic game so far, and George, you're doing a fantastic job down there in the booth. We've obviously always said you've got a face for radio, so that's basically why you're sat there in the comms. I know I'm going to get some stick for that now, but nevertheless, and it is. I mean, to be fair, that's a fantastic kick, but that's obviously a great kick due to the 15-yard penalty from Burton.
Yeah,
it's great. We mentioned about onside going from strength to strength, and we've also. There's a flag on the field still. Flag gets its moment of fame there on our screen. We have a fantastic crew around us, and obviously we've got an extensive commentary team now as well. So,
yeah, it's come a long way since that first game when we sat on the Nottingham Caesars sideline, just me and you. And you actually sent me a picture of that, and the headsets look unprofessional. And now,
I'll tell you what. Let's see if I can tweet that up there today. So, after the 15-yard penalty, Sandwell will take over. We are deep into fourth quarter action here in Leicester with the score of 35-14. I think a little bigger gap than I was expecting, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, up to that last score, it was actually pretty much a replay of the score of the 25-12 victory that Leicester had the first time these two teams met. Sandwell going to the ground here, still staying on the ground with Horton, with those Leicester Falcons ready for that one, and the whistle blows. So interestingly that Sandwell not looking to go immediately to the air and test these Leicester Falcons, maybe keeping something back for the playoffs. Both of these teams have made the playoffs, and so on one level this game means very little, but I do believe that Leicester Falcons will go in with an increased sense of confidence, and Sandwell Steelers will go in thinking, well, we just want another shot at these Leicester Falcons, as Varney does go deep to his receiver, and that one's well played by number 35, the defender on the ball there.
Emmanuel Matsokatera. So is that going to be called pass interference one way or the other?
Are you going offense or defense, Matt?
I'm going defense.
Pass interference, defense, number 35. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Ka-ching.
I'm going defense as well.
Ka-ching, 5-4 Walker. So that will bring up a first down for Sandwell, and like you say, it's still important for them to keep this offense moving and show Leicester that they're not going to just go quietly. And equally, I mean, we don't know. It's been a competitive game, but we don't know how much Sandwell have saved for the playoff. Have they shown Leicester everything that they've particularly got, knowing that this particular game, isn't all and everything, as Horton jiggles his way back to the line of scrimmage, but no further.
You would have thought that Sandwell might have looked to exploit that injury to Taylor Brown by throwing some kind of post pattern, or throwing the ball up the seam across the hash marks to try and exploit that position, that deep third that Taylor Brown is normally playing. They haven't done that. Again, the last play that we saw on the pass interference penalty was a play to the sideline, I just wonder whether they'll have a go at that before this game is over, just to test what happens when Taylor Brown's not in the heart of that defence in case they see it again.
Absolutely. And Varney hands off, and the ball, nothing doing there at all. That's big number 59, Vladimir Maximov. Very pleased with himself. If you look on Twitter now, you'll see on the hashtag, you'll see where it all began 3 years ago. We've come a long way since that point.
Certainly have. And Onside Productions, just production team here, and the leadership of Steve Matthews, just done a fantastic job.
I'll tell you what's quite disappointing, I've still got the same sunglasses.
Still got the same haircut.
I have still got the same haircut. And that NFL tattoo still on my forehead as well. So third down, here comes Varney looking to the outside, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver.
That's Jay Alexander. It's Jay Alexander, number 36, that they put on tight end. And Jay was the head coach of the Sandwell Steelers, so giving him an opportunity. He has been playing some inside linebacker, but they've put him on a tight end today, so that's an interesting decision as they move towards the playoffs.
And I think Alex James's eyes lit up there. He was smelling the end zone and almost took off before he secured that interception.
So Greg Freeman back to punt again for the Sandwell Steelers, getting plenty of practice tonight.
And Whitaker back deep for the Falcons. Not long left in this one now. So, that's coming down with snow on it, that one. And Whitaker gets out of the way, and it bounces out of bounds just outside the 15-yard line, where Sandwell will take over.
He is a weapon, Greg Freeman, when he's kicking that football, isn't he? And it just shows you what a weapon a punter can be. If you've got a good punter, there's some sort of statistic amongst the three different phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. It's actually special teams where the biggest momentum shifts happen, where the biggest yardage, in terms of chunk yardage gained across the field, can happen. It's a phase of the game that's so important, and Greg Freeman really very, very good at his punting tonight.
So, coming to the end of this one then, Cole, sum up the pathway of the game. Started out very defensively dominated, first off.
Yeah, I think you saw the Leicester Falcons come out and want to dominate with that running game, as they are on this play. That's a good tackle in the end there from Sandwell Steelers.
Ashton Patterson with the carry.
Ashton Patterson with the carry, and it was a good tackle there to track him down and take him down just for a 1 yard gain. So yeah, Marcus Francis and those offensive linemen of the Leicester Falcons coming out early to try and dominate the running game, and they had success doing that. But despite the fact that they drove down the field, the Sandwell Steelers defense held them to one touchdown early on. Then you had that second touchdown. Then, Leicester Falcons then relaxing, and you had all that shenanigans going on the sideline, the 30-yard penalty, and then the score from the Sandwell Steelers to bring them back into this football game. But since the second half, it's been dominated by the Leicester Falcons. You got a sense that Sandwell Steelers had a chance to come back into the game, but didn't take it.
Look at Marcus Francis just lowering the boom there on the Sandwell defender. And I think he may have popped a finger. I think he's popped a finger there, Marcus. Yeah. So rush to the sideline and get that sorted out.
So not without injuries tonight, Sandwell, as they go into the playoffs next week. Marcus Francis coming off with a finger. You got Taylor Brown with an injury.
If you're of a nervous disposition, do not watch that replay back, because the hand that was carrying the ball just got wedged between the ball and the defender's helmet, and
there was a whack up here, wasn't there, Matt, as that finger got crushed in that pile.
And it's come out facing the wrong direction as Watts goes in motion again, and Ogundana with the carry, and he skips his way through the defender.
There was a face mask there. I'm not sure whether there's a flag, but certainly there was a hand to the face of Ogundana as that running back went to the ground.
Getting a little tetchy in these dying moments, in what looks like being the Falcons retaining their undefeated season.
Yeah, and they've deserved it tonight. They've shown that strong running game, but they've shown other phases of their game as well. Their punting's been good, their special teams players have been good, they've returned the ball well, they've defended well. would have liked to have seen more from Kit Varney in terms of being able to make the impact that I know he believes he can. But it just didn't come to fruition for Sandwell, and some opportunities have gone begging for them. They'll want to make amends for that if these two teams meet again in the playoffs.
So as daylight fades here in Hinckley, Burton gets off another kill. Look where Ogundana is again as Davidson decides to field this one. He steps round Ogundana and he gets down the sideline and he's just stepped out of bounds and he flips a Leicester special teamer over his shoulder, but he did step out of bounds at the 29-yard line.
Oh, and he's just kicked the ball downfield as well. So he makes this return, picks it up, dances down the sideline, past a few Leicester Falcons defenders, and then in frustration at the fact that he didn't think he went out of bounds. Let's have a look.
He did. I think he did toe on the line. I think he did.
Toe on the line, and then right at the end of the play, I don't know whether we've got it on the replay, he just kicks the ball down the field, and a big cheer goes up from the Leicester Falcons.
Indiscipline from Callum.
Delay of game, number 5. 5 yards, first down.
So, hurting the Sandwell cause once again, unfortunately. They will definitely want to get a score on the board before.
Yeah, now this is an opportunity. You're not going to win the game. It's 35-14 down. So what do? You're going into the playoffs. This is not your season over. What do you want to try against these Leicester Falcons that might come back in another game, another day that you can use? What do you want to find out? Do you want to find out whether those defensive backs are weak? Do you want to find out whether you can continue to run up the middle? Is there something you want to do? Then do it now.
So first down carry there for the Steelers. It's Lee French back in the game for the Steelers. Hoping to try and get one more score on the board. Let's see if Varney can get things going again. There is no flag on the play at the minute. Oh, great athletic play from Frioff.
Frioff's had a good game, hasn't he? At linebackers, made some critical stops on running backs and nearly gets the interception there, just in the throwing lane, and that ball just not thrown well enough to get over that linebacker's head.
Actually, glancing down at the sideline here, we've still got Marcus Francis down there with a lot of medical staff around him, dealing with that finger, and I think that'll probably be his day done at the very least as well.
Yeah, and with such depth at the running back position, it won't concern the Leicester Falcons too much if it is just a finger.
Varney pump fakes, and he's got his man down the field, and that's number 80, Chris Wedderburn, who does salvage a little bit of respect, maybe a little bit of glory from this one, and that was beautifully done by Kit Varney.
Yeah, that was an absolutely stunning pass. And again, we said, where was Taylor Brown? Where he's injured, so go deep, test it, see whether it comes back in the playoffs. And there he goes, Kit Varney, with a nice throw in stride, and that running back chasing is the replacement for Taylor Brown. Couldn't get across quick enough. When you have a player like Taylor Brown, an impact player like Taylor Brown that's not on the field, you find yourself wanting, and that's exactly what Sandwell Steelers have managed to exploit late in this game.
So, little something to smile about for the Sandwell faithful. 35-20. It's obviously now, there's no flag off scoreboard, and the ball is over. It's great. A great completion once again from Varney to Davidson. So after Davidson's indiscipline of kicking that ball away on that return, Varney and Wedderburn help him out, and then he adds the extras. Looks like a much more respectable scoreline of 35-22.
Varney's got better and better on those slant throws as the game's gone on, and he's just thrown the two-pointer there. To be fair to the receiver, it was a great play, but the ball was well placed over the head of the defensive back into a point where only the receiver can pick that one out of the air. And if Varney didn't go to that receiver, he also had a running back open to the left. When they look at that play back on Huddle, when they look at the video that they may have taken of this game, they'll see that there was a running back open on that two-pointer as well, and that might be something they can exploit in the playoffs.
So, look, yeah, like you say, reasons to be hopeful. They only scored 12 points last time they played the Falcons. They've now increased that by 10. Obviously, Leicester only scored 25 in the first meeting between these two, and they've increased theirs by 10 as well. But I do think we are in for a big playoff game between these two.
Yeah, and Tristan Varney, Sandwell Steelers without Tristan Varney today, and that could be all the difference that they need. If they get Tristan back well and his ribs have healed properly for the playoffs, he will have an impact on that game and could be the difference. So we're coming late in the fourth quarter here. It's 35 to Leicester and 22 to Sandwell in what's been a really interesting and fascinating encounter, at least from my perspective, Matt, in terms of these two teams and both of their chances in the playoffs.
And if the quality of football is such that we've witnessed this afternoon that we've got to look forward to, I sounded a bit like Yoda the way I put that sentence together, but never mind. If we've got this sort of football to look forward to in the playoffs and in Brit Bowl, we're going to have Ogundana get slammed to the turf. Yeah, we're going to have a real good next couple of months, Cole.
Yeah, and this is sort of play that you love. I mean, there's nothing really to play for here, but Ogundana dancing around, Samuel Steelers defenders coming in and crushing him on the tackle there, and there's still that effort and heart they're putting into this game, because what the Sandwell Steelers are saying is, hey, we may have lost this one, but we'll see you again. And they keep sending those messages from these tackles that they're putting in. Equally, Leicester not backing down 1 inch and coming at them strong in this running game.
How happy will Coach Cassar be, obviously with the result, but with the performance? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with the running game performance. I think he's seen some real magic from players like Joe Brammer today, players like Taylor Brown. Another player comes off limping for Leicester Falcons. It's not been without its injuries, has it, this game for Leicester? They really have suffered a number of players coming off, key players. These are not backups.
And as you have said already, even though the result is out of question, yeah, this could end up impacting later down the line, definitely.
That's Adam Gums, their starting running back, who's in the backfield. Both Francis and Gums now coming off limping. Well, not Francis because he hurt his finger, but certainly Gums and Taylor Brown.
So Brammer this time, here's Ogundana again, slicing through. What a great tackle that is. Great form tackle, got low. Robert Jones, number 26.
Robert Jones made that tackle against Taylor Brown earlier as well. Robert Jones is just an excellent form tackler, and whoever's been coaching him, hats off to you. Look at that. Nice hit with the shoulder, not the head. Wraps, twists, and takes his man down to the ground. No chance for the runner to escape.
Also, like the timing you need, particularly on a runner like Ogundana, because he could just step at that last minute and you're going to end up just tackling air. So he's lined him up, he's timed that to perfection, as well as actually getting the technique very, very well done. So here we go again. Brammer this time hands off to Patterson, and Patterson goes off to the right-hand side, and now time is just running off the clock. This one is done as a contest. Leicester will end up running out winners for the second time over the Steelers, the 9th time overall this season with just Doncaster to play.
Sandwell Steelers players also slow getting up there, but he's on his feet. Both teams have given a lot today. I've seen the energy, I've seen their commitment to the game. Nothing to play for in this game, Matt. There really wasn't any reason other than playing for pride and playing to send a message to the other divisions in this country in Division 1, and to also send a message to each other that, look, we'll see you again.
A full slate of games tomorrow as Gums, after injuring himself a couple of plays back, good to see him back on the field in full speed. I must say, when Adam Gums falls and when he gets tackled, he does fall awkwardly to the point where you think, oh, is there something going to have been injured there, some tweak? It's a strange one, but
2 minutes.
We talked about it in the tour bus on the way here, didn't we, Matt, in terms of
Leicester have one time out,
how you fall and the speed at which you fall can sometimes give you injuries. Often you'll see injuries, so quite nasty injuries, breaks and pulls and tears when the play is actually slowed down. You tend to see the concussions and those sorts of things when the play is at full speed.
Absolutely. So first down after the run by Gums. Brammer still in the game. 2 receivers to the left. Patterson with the carry again, scything his way to the right, and he's got space, and he's still on his feet at the 30 and brought down at the 27-yard line.
I do love watching Patterson run. He runs with such energy and purpose. You know, he's got that long, rangy strides, and he's all energy and hustle and trying to get those extra yards. He's a good running back in the making, is Patterson. He's going to break some. He's going to break some for touchdowns, I have no doubt.
It's interesting, and it would be interesting to find out how you keep such a deep stable of running backs all content, knowing that they must all know that they have a specific role at a specific point in the game, in a specific situation, depending on the scoreline, depending on the opposition, and they obviously must buy into it as Gums takes the ball once more.
Yeah, they're just winding down this clock now. They're having their way to some extent with this tired Sandwell Steelers defense. They've been on the field for so long. In answer to your question, I think these are younger runners coming up through the Leicester Falcons ranks. They're learning from the likes of Francis. They're learning from the likes of Gums that have been around and done a lot more in the game. Certainly Francis is still very young himself.
So I said about that slate of games coming tomorrow, some notable ones. In the Premiership, the London Warriors take on the Bristol Aztecs. Tamworth Phoenix will face the Edinburgh Wolves.
That should be a good game.
Should be. We've also got the Sheffield Giants against the Manchester Titans. That should be another good one.
Yeah.
We've got the Caesars in Division 1. The Nottingham Caesars against the Doncaster Mustangs. So that will close out the Caesars season. Northumberland Vikings, the team that we mentioned in the other Division 1 in the north, who will be in the playoffs as well. They take on the Leeds Bobcats tomorrow.
And those games now, those will be games that both Sandwell and Leicester will be watching to see how they're going to match up with them in the playoffs.
Indeed. Another good one down in the capital. The Olympians take on the Blitz tomorrow afternoon as well, as Patterson takes the handoff once again to the right, as now the floodlights do kick into action, as the sun has gone for the day here in Hinckley.
Another great tackle there from Robert Jones. Again, another form tackle.
The Shropshire Revolution.
1 minute, 1-1-3. 1-1-3, that's their second.
Sorry, Mr. Gibson, interrupting you there. Shropshire Revolution take on the Coventry Jets tomorrow. All being well, Coventry will be able to field a team for that one. But yeah, some juicy matchups.
That London Blitz Olympians matchup, we spoke to Stuart Franklin at halftime, and he's here watching the game, lives in Leicester, but commutes down to London twice a week to play for his old team, London Blitz. That shows some commitment to keep the game going. I know he's looking forward to tomorrow.
Third down, Leicester. This time we have a new quarterback in, and Gums comes around the left side, and he picks up enough for the first down. And actually in at quarterback we have AJ Mepstead.
Well, Robert Jones, number 26, is just making tackles all over the field to try and prevent another score of these Leicester Falcons. Obviously Sandwell Steelers tired now. Robert Jones just making form tackles all over the place, and good on him, still playing with a great deal of spirit and heart and great technique right at the death of this game.
So a successful afternoon for the home side, maintaining their undefeated record. They will finish this one 9-0, just with Doncaster to play. So with all due respect, you can see them easily going 10-0. All due respect to Doncaster. Sorry, Cole. Gums once again off the left side with a flag down, and that's in the vicinity of holding that time.
I was just going to say we saw AJ Mepstead, the replacement for Joe Brammer, play against Shropshire. Was very impressed by him. He didn't have a lot to do because they have such a great ground attack, but we were talking about the depth at running back that they have. Mepstead coming in here, I don't think you'll see a significant drop-off in performance and overall yardage for the Leicester Falcons.
Offense, 54. 10 yards, still first down.
Takes the score to
Sandwell
6-4 if
elected
anyone's still counting, because I am.
No one is, man. No one's counting.
I don't win much in my life, Carl. I have to take these small victories when I can get them. You entered into the game in good spirits, as I know you are. You're a true gentleman, so please accept defeat with such grace.
Okay, Matt.
Okay, Matt. Whatever, Matt.
Enjoy.
Mepstead once again hands off, and there's once again Adam Edwards in at running back this time, number 9. So that stable goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah, no room there for Adam Edwards, and number 95, Daniel Williams, who's played well today, knifing through to tackle him in the backfield.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote in this one. With our final score here in Leicester, the Leicester Falcons 35 and the Sandwell Steelers 22. It's been a very entertaining game here in Hinckley.
It's been an absolutely fascinating encounter. I've enjoyed watching these two teams go to battle tonight. Leicester Falcons elated after this win, and there was a big cheer went up from the Leicester Falcons sideline. So it certainly meant a lot to them to come out again victorious over these their rivals this year, Sandwell Steelers.
So, as the game concludes, we will prepare to bring you our post-game show. Hopefully catch a couple of interviews with coaches, maybe the odd player, and get their reaction to this one. So with the final score of the Leicester Falcons 35 and the Sandwell Steelers 22, we will bid you adieu for now, and see you shortly for our post-game show.
You got the sense from both these teams that this was like a preview of playoff football, and the tension from the crowd, tension from the players, and that competitiveness that we wanted to see, and we really got to see it today. It was exciting all the way through.
First half was very much a defensive struggle, 6-0 right up to the end of the first half, really, and then the game exploded.
Yeah, and I enjoy those defensive struggles. We've talked about that before. I enjoy that defensive battle. It was tense, it was edgy. Leicester Falcons just with one score, kept driving down the field, getting close to that red zone, getting into that red zone. Then the Sandwell Steelers defense holding firm, the bend don't break philosophy, and then getting them off the field. Greg Freeman punting them again back downfield. So it was exciting in that first half. And then, of course, you're right, towards the end of that first half, it all exploded.
And we had an offensive shootout, really, in the second half. Taylor Brown, we've mentioned his name so often, but he came into the offensive attack and just lit the place up.
Yeah, it was 3 consecutive magical plays, really, from Taylor Brown. You had, first of all, the play with Joe Brammer scrambling around on third down, looking for Taylor Brown, keeps the play alive, rolls to his right. Taylor Brown, 50-50 against the defensive back, manages to get that ball, pinch it out to the air and go to ground. And then, of course, scores on the very next play. Again, a great pass from Joe Brammer into that far corner and caught the ball with a diving catch. And to complete the hat-trick, the two-point
conversion as well.
Diving into the end zone from 4 yards out. Fantastic from Taylor.
But obviously Taylor wasn't the only weapon here for the Falcons this afternoon. Kieran Watts ended up with 2 scores of his own. I think Adam Gums went in as well.
Yeah.
So spreading the ball around, and we've mentioned so often about the strength in depth, not only at the running back position, but across the offense.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way the Falcons played this game out. They were very, very strong with their running backs. So when it came to actually scoring the points, they were scoring them through the air.
Sure.
As the game became tighter when they got into that red zone. So they have weapons. They have so much depth. And all of those weapons were on display today for Leicester Falcons. So they played a very good game and came out, I think, deserving winners in the end.
Sure. Even though Sandwell are on the wrong end of this result this afternoon, I don't think they'll be overly disappointed because it doesn't change their position in the table. It doesn't change what they're going to do heading into the playoffs. And there were bright spots for not only the offense, but significantly in that first period, the defense really stood up.
Yeah, Sandwell Steelers defense played well against a very strong, a very talented set of running backs primarily. They found it difficult, I think, to contain Joe Brammer sometimes on those scrambling plays, but certainly that front seven took quite a battering in terms of what they needed to do just to keep these running backs contained. They are strong and athletic and very, very physical team of Leicester. And I thought they did that bend, don't break. They got to the end zone and then were able to turn that play back.
Sure, absolutely, and I can just see Spine over there. We've got 2 of the victorious Leicester players alongside us. How are you, gents? Congratulations. How are you going? You good? Congratulations. If you guys just want to, there you go. If you want to go down, that's fine. Let's go in the middle. So,
do you want to introduce yourselves first? Just tell us who you are. I know
obviously,
I'm Kyron Watts.
Yeah. And I'm Adefemi Aina.
Excellent.
Talk to us about the game then. Obviously, we heard from the cheer that went up at the end how much that meant to you guys, even though from a game point of view, even if you'd have lost, it wouldn't have necessarily impacted on your division title. But what did that mean, getting that victory this afternoon?
It was important, man. It was very important because we always thought that we always knew that Sandwell was going to be the toughest games of our season. But everybody came together. We all knew that we had to come together, work hard. And the only thing that could beat us would be ourselves, not them. So and we proved it that today we beat them because we were all family today. So yeah.
And Kieran, how did you find it today? Was it a game that was a really important one for you personally to make sure you came out with a good performance?
Yeah, definitely. Because last week I kind of slacked a little bit. I felt like, but this today I just tried to come through for my team. I put in the work the whole week, and the results showed. So I'm pretty happy about it, and I'm happy that my team got the victory.
We've just seen, you wouldn't have seen it there, we've just seen I think your first TD on screen there. Talk to us about what's in your mindset when you're in the back of that end zone and the DB's closing on you. What goes through the mind of a receiver at that point?
It's just to make the play. I'm a big receiver. I'm not real fast, so my size is all I have. So if I don't make that play, then I'll just be pretty much useless. That's my job. Wherever the quarterback throw it, I got to attack the ball. So that's all I think. The ball is mine, and just to be aggressive.
And a running game from you guys as well today. Very impressive. I mean, how good is it to know that you can trust that running game, and when you really need to make the yards, you could just step up and make them behind that O-line?
It's like this. We had the D-line and the linebackers to stop the running game, and us as the DBs, we are there to stop the passing game. And today we showed that, obviously. And yeah, that running game was great. It was great that we stopped it, and all they could do was just pass on us. And they may have got a few touchdowns here and there, but hey, we stopped them, and that's it.
So the defense really felt like it was a good performance from their perspective.
Oh yeah, we performed well. Like every man was playing for each other. We all play for each other. Again, we're a family, we're brothers out here. So we've got to play for each other.
Our running game is really, really good.
Unbelievable.
Just because they're versatile. You got Marcus, he's big, he give us that balance. And you got Adam, and you got Tolu, who's so elusive. So we can throw a lot of things at you. So we're pretty blessed, man.
As much as there have been loads of positives to come out today, there's a couple of negatives, a couple of injuries there. Marcus, was that a finger popped out with Marcus? Yeah. And a hamstring for Taylor?
It was hamstring for Taylor, but obviously, we have players that are there to step up. Sure. So whenever somebody goes down, there's always somebody that's just there to step up, and none of us complains. Yeah. Obviously, we know our brother's down, and we're there to back him up. We're there to back him up and make sure that he's one of us. We're basically out there playing to tell you that you hurt one of us, we're gonna beat you guys up.
Apologies for that. So are we already thinking playoffs? Still got Doncaster, but are we already thinking playoffs, or is your mind switched to the playoff game? Or?
We clinched it already, right?
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it's fair to just look over them, because I've been running this game a lot, and I done seen some crazy things happen. You know what I'm saying? So, no, we just gonna go and prepare like we do every week, and when playoffs get here, it'll get here. But for now, we just gonna,
Do you guys have somebody that you're looking at in the playoffs in another division, not Sandwell, where you're kind of saying, and I know you're taking it one game at a time, but you can't help as a player to look a little bit forward. Who are the teams that are really you think, that's the one we're going to have to get through?
You want this one?
Well, obviously, the Vikings. I think they're 9-0, right? 9-0. Yeah. So they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So. That'll be a good test for us, So
it's also quite a personal match for us as well because some of the players from Derby play over here, so and some of the players from Durham play for Northumberland. So hey, we're coming for you guys. We're coming for you guys. So that's the game.
It'll be good. Yeah.
Well, thank you ever so much. We've covered a lot of games this season, but the most entertaining one by far we've covered. So thank you ever so much. Congratulations on your victory. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, and best
Excellent
of luck.
game. Well done to the defense. Well done offense. Brilliant stuff. We'll see you soon.
Best of luck in the playoffs. All right, take care. Thank you. Great to hear from the players, and just that brotherhood spirit. The whole, I think they're very quick, and it's obvious there that. Okay, yeah, we've got Taylor Brown, but if he's not there, we're good. We're all right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that next man up attitude. And when Taylor Brown went down, they did bring other players on the field. If Marcus Francis goes down, they can rotate their running backs. They have this tremendous depth. Even when they missed Joe Brammer against Shropshire, Mepstead, who we saw towards the end of the game today, was able to come up and manage the game well.
Sure.
So this team's not just a bunch of superstars. They have a good coaching staff. They have good homegrown talent. And they have a good bunch of players that they can rotate when they need to get the job done.
And I say, even though Sandwell came out on the wrong end of the result, some positives for them, particularly in the second half. Kit Varney showed his potential, and he hit Wedderburn for that long TD in the fourth quarter, but it took a while to get going, but definite positives there.
This will be good experience for Kit Varney. It's excellent that he's come in this game. It's such a big game. Tristan Varney not available to play. He stepped up. There was a little bit of nerves to start with, but he completed that short pass early. He's completed slants for a touchdown. He completed a long play for a touchdown. He will now take those as reference points in his playing career and be able to use those as this team moves through the playoffs. It was not by any means a bad performance by Sandwell. I mean, some of the defending that they had was excellent, and Leicester Falcons was still able to make big plays, and that's just the magic that people like Taylor Brown can do to you.
And with that in mind as well, from a Sandwell's perspective, they've lost this one, but they've rested Tristan Varney. They've got him to come back for the playoff game, so that could have a completely different impact on that offence, and almost catch Leicester unawares.
Yeah, they were missing a lot of players. I don't just think it was Tristan. There were players playing in different positions. They still have a lot to show in the playoffs, Sandwell, and I think they can definitely come back and give this team another good game. What they need to be able to do is to compete not just in the first half, but compete for all four quarters.
Sure.
And that's tough to do against a Leicester's team that just keeps pounding you, difficult against that running game. So, but I think with a bit of work and with Tristan back, they can be competitive with this team once more, and hopefully for the whole 4 quarters.
Absolutely. I can just see we've got Coach Cassar, victorious Coach Cassar just joined us. Congratulations, Coach, as ever.
Welcome, Coach.
for the pens. Well, I mean, let's gloss over that for a minute. Think of the performance as a whole. Okay.
Okay. Performance.
What are you pleased about?
Pleased about everything. A whole lot. The offense ran the ball well. You know, Kyron came back 3 touchdowns. Michael, the American linebacker, played really well, number 8.
He did. Yeah, we saw that.
A bit worried about the injuries, but we've got 4 weeks to the playoffs now.
Yeah. Okay.
So everybody can have a rest now. Put the rookies in again.
And I know when we've been here before, you spoke about your concern over early season penalties and flags and one thing or another. Yeah, yeah. And, it seemed we actually commented in the first quarter that seemed to have righted itself, and you've obviously spoken about it and done a lot of work about it, and the discipline looked good.
Yeah, like I said, we had a big chat last week against Doncaster. Although we won, that discipline was shocking. You know, I basically asked them what the problem was, even with the coaches, and they took it on board. And today we're the team more together, more like a family again. You know, I think we're beating teams too easily. I think that's the kind of game I want. I want that every week. I've just said to them, play again next week if you want. I ain't got a problem with it.
Yeah, it's the sort of game that you really play for and coach for, isn't it? When you have those tight games like that.
As like I said at the beginning, this is the only game other than the first game where I didn't know if we're going to win. Whereas other games, I kind of knew we were going to win. Which is I'm not trying to be cocky or you know, it's just the feeling you get. Yeah. You know, I want to wake up with just butterflies in my stomach and thinking about it for a week. And you know, they're a great team. Yeah. And you know that move, that wide receiver made here, that was great. Yeah. The disappointing part was the refs. I'm going to be like Premier League. Just one ref on my side.
What happened on the sideline here during that? The after. Well, just
let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
Listen, that's what happened. I got a penalty the first time, which is fair enough.
Right.
That was my fault. Instead of me stepping back, I stepped forward onto the pitch.
Right.
That was a flag. The second 2 flags, was Wayne Gums, who actually got flagged. And I went, "Oh, be careful, Wayne." And I put my foot over the line, he flagged me again. But he was all the way down. Oh, doesn't matter now, it's game, so I'm not make arguments, all right. The cameraman was laughing his head off. He's never seen anything like it down on the sideline. You know.
Interestingly, it was really nice to hear at the final whistle what it meant to all of you guys. You know, regardless of the situation, you've won the division, regardless of today. So like you say, coming into a game like this and it just meaning that much.
Yeah, it does. It means a lot. I mean, like I said, they're a good side, and I've got history. I've got history with them, but you know, Lions and I was at Tamworth with Greg, and you know,
those old rivalries.
Yeah, old rivalries are the best ones. They're a good team. It's not going to have a rivalry against the others like Coventry. That's not a rivalry. You know, it's like the old Hoods Bulls, that kind of rivalry. You know, no one likes us, but we got on together after. And that's a bit like this. I mean, I've got full rows of respect for them. They're a really good side. They've come on a lot from last year.
Absolutely.
As we have.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned earlier on about injuries. People going to be nothing major. Obviously, we think a finger with Francis. Yeah, and
I'll tell you more if you want. A finger with Francis.
Yeah.
That's fine. You have gas in there like he's having a baby. It's not a fracture. You know what I mean? Yeah, fractured. Like I guess Taylor is going to take 2-3 weeks. I think it's his hamstring.
Right.
He'll be back for the playoffs. So he'll be playing next week. Toulouse took a bit of concussion on the head, but that's from lack of eating all day. He just told me what a bloody plonker. Yeah. So that's all right. Adam Gums was a bit stiff at the end. Vikram's hand, the lineman, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll just rest. Really, because the score, with 3 scores up, we decided to pull them out, save them for the playoffs, and really risk them now.
That was one thing we noticed, wasn't it, in the commentary booth, just how much depth this team's got at running back or at quarterback. There you go, Coach. Congratulations. Well, it wasn't exactly a Gatorade bath, was it? But
Jesus,
I guess
Falcon.
That's British American football for you. You just get squirted with a water bottle, But yeah, congratulations. It's a division title for you guys, and you know, you've just been dominant throughout the season, and that must feel good.
I'd say it's really good. Really happy. You're about the squad. Yeah, it's a massive squad. It's a great squad. You know, we're from everywhere. You know, we've got from Peterborough, from Derby, especially from Derby. We've got a lot of Derby players.
Absolutely.
You know, we should change it to Derby Falcons, I think, or Braves Falcons.
Yeah.
Better, wouldn't it?
What's the name of your mascot? We were trying to think of a good name.
I have
for
no idea who that is.
And is he number 41 because of a certain GM?
No. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably his missus.
Well, Coach, as ever, it's ever so good to chat with you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And we'll hopefully cover you in the playoffs.
Well, let's hope we get someone in the final. That's what two from the same division to be in the final. That'd be great.
That'd be good to see.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks very much. Take care.
See you later. Cheers.
Well, I was going to have a shower when I got home, but nevertheless, we've had a bit of an early bath. It's obvious what that meant. Like I say, you heard the noise at the end, and just how buoyant Coach is right there.
Yeah, a lot of excitement in this Leicester Falcons team about that win, and they're relaxed on the sideline, Leicester. When you watch them from the booth position, as we did, you don't see a lot of tension in the team.
No.
But it means a lot to them, just because they're not playing with that kind of very serious intensity. Even though they're playing nice and relaxed, you can see how much it meant to them with the big cheers at the end and everyone getting involved. There's certainly a sense of connectedness and togetherness in this team, and as I said, it's not a bunch of superstars. It's a genuine team, good coaches, good setup here, and they'll do well in the playoffs. We'll see how far they'll go.
Well, again, the most competitive, the most enthralling, the most action-packed game we've covered all season, and that's no disrespect to any of the other teams, but it is just significant, the difference in the athletes and the way these two programs are set up, and I think it bodes well for not only them, but football in general in the future.
Yeah, more games like this be good to watch, and we look forward to seeing more of this type of quality play in the playoffs as we move into the 2018, the real serious end of the season now, where things really count.
So it's been a beautiful day here in Hinckley. The sun is just setting over our right shoulders. A fantastic effort and victory for the Leicester Falcons. It's time for us to say goodbye. We will join you again soon. Before we go, obviously, always like to thank Tom and George in the booth back there for the production. Thanking Sean and Alex on the cameras. Thank you, as ever, Mr. Walkinshaw. Always a pleasure.
Matt, and thanks, team, in an excellent production tonight.
Obviously, I'm 2-0 up in the flag series now, so I'm happy with that victory. And I'll get when we get on our tour bus later on the way home, we'll sort out the prizes for that. And just as a footnote, just want to say thank you and goodbye to one of our cameramen, Gary, who's left Onside Productions now. He's taken up a role on the cruise ship, I believe. So best of luck to him for that. We will see you in the very near future for our next production. But until that, the Leicester Falcons have run out victorious here by a score of 35-22 over the Sandwell Steelers, and the next time they meet may well be in the playoffs. Thanks, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Good night from us all here.